Chapter 1549. Seeing Lin Feng lowering his head and not saying anything, Chang Qianqian immediately revealed a smile, because in Chang Qianqian's opinion, Lin Feng was definitely feeling guilty, which was why he didn't say anything. There were people everywhere. There were disciples of the heavenly Tao sect watching from the side, maintaining order. The old servant came in front of a disciple and handed him a storage bag. It was probably filled with spirit stones. Then, he lowered his head and whispered something. Then, the disciple nodded, gave some instructions to the surrounding disciples, and walked towards the mountain gate. The old servant walked over and said, "Young master, that disciple has already gone to invite Deacon Li." Chang Jian said, "All right, then let's wait here for a while." Chang Qianqian said, "Second brother, I don't know if we can ask for the Tianyu Han Xian pill. Right now, my heart is in turmoil." Chang Jian touched the area below his neck. There was a necklace around his neck. On the necklace, there was a storage ring hanging on his body. Inside this storage ring, there were 10 million top-grade spirit stones. In order to save their grandfather, the Chang clan had also gone all out. They had exchanged a third of their family's wealth for top-grade spirit stones, just to ask for pills. As for more spirit stones, it would be very difficult to take them out. After all, a huge family like the Chang clan required a large amount of funds to operate, and the young and old also required cultivation resources to cultivate. If he were to take out more spirit stones, it would obviously cripple this clan, or even cause it to collapse and never be able to recover. Thus, Chang Jian was also very worried. Could 10 million top-grade spirit stones be enough to ask for the Tianyu Han Xian pill? If he couldn't get it, what should he do? Watch his grandfather die of serious injuries? Thinking of this, Chang Jian's mood also became serious. Perhaps Chang Qianqian had also thought of this point. Her pretty face was slightly pale, and even the thought of going against Lin Feng had disappeared at this moment. Everything depends on human effort. There are many things that need to be done naturally. Lin Feng said, "I hope everything goes well," Chang Jian said with a wry smile. At this time, a deacon followed the previous disciple and flew over from afar, landing on the stone steps. This deacon should be the Deacon Li that the old servant had mentioned. This Deacon Li looked to be in his 40s. He had a thin figure and a malicious gaze. He had his hands behind his back and had the posture of a superior. He indifferently glanced at Chang Jian, Chang Qianqian, and Lin Feng and said, "Which one of you is Chang Jian?" "Junior is Chang Jian," greets Deacon Li. Chang Jian did not dare to hesitate and hurriedly bowed to Deacon Li, said Lin Feng while shaking his head. He was just a deacon. In the Tian Dao sect, he was just an ordinary deacon. In the eyes of the heavens, people who cultivated in large sections, their status seemed to always be higher than ordinary forces. Come with me," Deacon Li said. "Let's." Chang Jian glanced at Lin Feng and Chang Qianqian. "Who are these two people?" "Who?" Manager Li frowned slightly. "This is my younger sister, and this is my good friend. I hope that Deacon Li can make an exception for us," said Lin Feng. Deacon Li frowned. The old servant quickly stuffed a storage pouch into Deacon Li's Deacon Li. It was obviously filled with spirit stones. Deacon Li pondered for a moment, and his expression became slightly better. "Your sister can enter. As for this brat, he's just an outsider. He can wait at the foot of the mountain. Not just anyone can enter Tian Dao sect," Deacon Li said arrogantly. Chang Jian smiled bitterly and looked at Lin Feng apologetically. Lin Feng stepped forward and said indifferently, "If I want to enter Tian Dao sect, your sect master will have to kneel and welcome me. You're just a mere deacon. How dare you stop me?" When Lin Feng said those words, the crowd at the foot of the mountain, which was initially very lively, suddenly became absolutely silent. Everyone stood rooted to the ground in a daze at that instant. Many people could not believe their ears. They thought they had heard wrong. A very young cultivator. He actually dared to say that, "If I enter Tian Dao sect, even the sect master will have to kneel and welcome me." Moreover, he said it at the foot of Tian Dao sect. He said this to a Deacon Li of Tian Dao sect. This person was tired of living. So, was he tired of living? This was simply courting death. Many people thought that Lin Feng must be crazy. If he was not crazy, how could he say such words? When Chang Jian and Chang Qianqian heard Lin Feng's words, they were so scared that their bodies trembled. Both of their faces were as pale as paper. They knew that Lin Feng was in big trouble this time. You, what did you say? Deacon Li was so angry that he was incoherent. He looked at Lin Feng angrily. Deacon Li, please don't get angry. My friend was just a bit excited after seeing the heavenly Tao sect's might. He said the wrong thing. Deacon Li, please forgive him since he's young and doesn't know any better. Chang Jian hurriedly begged. Lin Feng said, Brother Chang, why do you have to be so humble? Who can stop me from going where I want to go? A mere Tiandao sect, in my eyes, is nothing more than a speck of dust in the mortal world. Rise and fall, life and death, all within a year of mine. Crazy, this brat is crazy. Oh my God, I've never seen such a madman. He's bragging to the heavens. Many people at the foot of the mountain were discussing as they looked at Lin Feng. It was no different from looking at a dead man. They had never seen a madman like Lin Feng. Chang Jian and Chang Qianqian's faces were deathly pale. They knew. Lin Feng said these words. There was no room for reconciliation. Even they might be implicated because of this. The two siblings were trembling in fear. Brat, you're courting death. Deacon Li shouted angrily and slapped towards Lin Feng. Humph! Lin Feng coldly snorted and took a step forward. His divine might spread for 100,000 li. It was as if a god had descended. Deacon Li couldn't take it and knelt on the ground with a plop. Everyone at the foot of the mountain couldn't withstand the pressure emitted by Lin Feng's body. Plop, plop. Countless people knelt on the ground. Other than Chang Jian, Chang Qianqian, and the old servant, no one else could stand. Lin Feng walked towards the Tiandao sect. An old friend has come to visit. Where is Lanru? Lin Feng shouted softly. His voice resounded throughout the entire Tiandao sect. Who dares to barge into my Tiandao sect? Angry shouts resounded as the Tiandao sect's elders all flew out of the elders' hall. They looked at Lin Feng, who was walking up the stone steps, and couldn't help but shout angrily. Ants and dogs, how dare you speak so loudly in front of me? Lin Feng shouted coldly, and with a step, his body appeared in mid-air. Hundreds of Tiandao sect's elders lost control of their bodies and fell to the ground one by one, kneeling on both knees. Who are you? The hundreds of kneeling Tiandao sect's elders looked at Lin Feng, who was like a god in mid-air, in horror as they asked in trembling voices. Chapter 1550. Chang Jian and Chang Qianqian looked at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a god. Their hearts were filled with shock. Chang Jian felt that Lin Feng might not be a simple person. However, Chang Jian had never thought that Lin Feng would be so powerful. Was he a god? Chang Qianqian was also shocked. She had always thought that Lin Feng was too arrogant and self-righteous. However, she only knew now how wrong she was. Such a powerful person. It should be a great honor for the siblings to be able to eat at the same table and talk to them, right? Humph. At that moment, a cold snort came from the depths of the Tiandao sect. You barged into my Tiandao sect and forced my grand elder to kneel. Don't you think you've gone too far? The voice was very old. It should be an ancestor of the Tiandao sect. It's the old sect master. The kneeling grand elders of the Tiandao sect cried out excitedly. Perhaps in their opinion, the old sect master must have a way to deal with Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. This is a world where the strong make the rules. Everything I do is reasonable. I'll ask again, where is Lanrua? Why are you looking for Lanrua? The old sect master's voice sounded again. It's been 10 years. Do I need to explain myself to you when I want to see an old friend? Who do you think you are? Do you think you're worthy of asking me questions? Lin Feng's voice was indifferent. The expressions of the people of the Tiandao sect changed. Lin Feng's words could be said to be extremely arrogant. He didn't put the old sect master in his eyes at all. Obviously, Lin Feng had come this time. He didn't come with good intentions. Since Lanrua doesn't want to come out, I'll find her myself. Lin Feng's voice was cold as he walked toward the Tiandao sect. The old sect master was furious to be looked down upon and humiliated by Lin Feng, but he knew that it was best not to offend someone like Lin Feng, unless he could kill him. If he couldn't kill the other party, there would be endless disasters. The old sect leader suppressed the anger in his heart and said, Lan Rua is not in the sect. You should leave quickly. Otherwise, don't blame me for not warning you. If you come forward again, you may lose your life. Ha 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 ha. How laughable. A mere heavenly Tao sect is nothing more than a mediocre sect in my eyes. How dare you say you can make me lose my life? Lin Feng laughed out loud. He continued to walk towards the heavenly Tao sect. Sect Protector, someone is threatening the safety of the heavenly Tao sect. Please wake up and protect the safety of the heavenly Tao sect. The old sect master's voice rang out. Rumble. At this moment, the 4 huge statues in front of Tiandao sect's mountain gate began to shake violently. These were the 4 divine statues. The first statue on the left had divine swords in their hands. They had protected the heavenly Tao sect for countless years. Many Tiandao sect disciples only thought that this was an ordinary stone statue. However, only the successive sect masters of the Tiandao sect knew about it. These 4 statues had a great history. These 4 statues were the 4 ancestors of the heavenly Tao sect. These 4 ancestors were not the founders of the heavenly Tao sect, but they were the protectors of the heavenly Tao sect. Back then, the heavenly Tao sect was in danger of being destroyed. It was these 4 ancestors. They turned the tide. Later, the 4 ancestors collected countless materials and created these 4 statues to guard the heavenly Tao sect. Unless the sect was in danger of being destroyed, or else, they definitely couldn't awaken the 4 statues. And today, in the eyes of the old sect leader, Lin Feng was a terrifying existence that could destroy the heavenly Tao sect. He didn't know how Lan Rua had angered such a terrifying person, but obviously, the hatred had long been formed. Now, it wasn't just a few words. It could be said clearly. Now, they could only fight. Swish. Swish. The 4 statues opened their eyes. Waves of divine power were emitted from the 4 statues. The 4 deity statues stepped into the void, emitting a terrifying aura. Sir, it's not too late to leave. The heavenly Tao sect doesn't want to be your enemy. The old sect leader said, If you don't want to be my enemy, let Lan Rua come out. Don't awaken the 4 statues to deal with me. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Sir, you came with hostility. This old man had no choice but to do this. The old sect leader said, What you did is done. There's no need to find a reason to explain. Lin Feng raised his right hand and slapped towards the 4 statues. Boom! The 4 statues exploded. Each of them was overflowing with divine power. God. For gods. Many people looked at the 4 statues in horror. Those were definitely statues that had reached the God realm. They were extremely terrifying. The cultivators of the heavenly Tao sect looked at the 4 statues with excitement. In their eyes, the 4 God-level guardian statues. They could definitely defeat Lin Feng. The 4 statues displayed extraordinary battle prowess. Lin Feng felt that these 4 statues were very similar to puppets. Under normal circumstances, after the puppet was successfully refined, its cultivation wouldn't weaken for many years. Just like Lin Feng's 3 poisonous puppets. For statues, it should be the same refining method. The 4 statues surrounded Lin Feng. The statue in front of him threw a punch. This divine ability was called 10,000 Gods Demon Breaking Fist. He punched out, and the shadows of countless Tao gods appeared behind him. The statue on the left used a divine ability called Death Confinement Slash. It condensed a terrifying killing light that tore through the world and slashed towards Lin Feng. The statue on the right used a divine ability called 9 Heavenly Strikes. 9 consecutive rays of destructive light blasted towards Lin Feng. The statue at the back used a divine ability called Star God Splitting Technique. These 4 divine abilities each had their own merits. Each divine ability was the top secret technique of the heavenly Tao sect. That guy definitely won't be able to withstand the attacks of the 4 guardian statues. Sensing the battle prowess of the 4 statues, the cultivators of the heavenly Tao sect became excited and confident. The rest of the cultivators looked up at the sky. They were all filled with shock as they looked at the battle in the sky. They didn't know who would win this battle. Would it be the young god? Or would it be the 4 guardian statues of the heavenly Tao sect? Just 4 guardian statues, and you dare to act so fierce in front of me? You're overestimating yourself. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He raised his right hand and used the Great Calamity technique. Rumble. A loud sound shook the sky. Endless power of calamity surged out. A long river of calamity. It condensed in the void. Then, the long river of calamity swept towards the 4 statues. In an instant, the 4 statues that attacked Lin Feng, they were instantly swallowed by the long river of calamity. The 4 statues began to struggle violently in the long river of calamity. However, no matter how they struggled, they couldn't break free from the long river of calamity. How could this be? Countless people of the Heavenly Tao sect looked at the scene in the sky in horror. The 4 idols were like ordinary people who were drowning. Crack, 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 crack. Cracking sounds could be heard as the 4 statues all shattered. The broken statues fell towards the ground. They turned into 4 piles of ruins. Seeing this scene, everyone from the Heavenly Tao sect had ashen faces. Chapter 1551. Lin Feng was like an immortal god, standing in the air, looking in all directions like a demon or a god. The 4 statues were instantly destroyed by Lin Feng. This was too frightening. The entire world became silent. Lin Feng descended on the square of the Tiandao sect. There were 36 elders of the Tiandao sect sitting cross-legged there. The person in the lead was the old sect leader of the Tiandao sect, Tan Qingshan. Now, these elders of the Tiandao sect were as pale as a sheet. Why? We have no enmity with you. Why are you targeting our Tiandao sect? Until now, Tan Qingshan still did not understand why Lin Feng was targeting the Tiandao sect. He did not even know who Lin Feng was. In the past, I brought my maid Zi Yuan with me and was seen by your sect's Lan Ruo. Lan Ruo took a fancy to Zi Yuan's talent and wanted to kill me. A disciple of the Tiandao sect called Wang Ziyu knew about this and wanted to let me go, but was killed by Lan Ruo. 10 years have passed, but I still haven't forgotten about this. Lin Feng stood in the square with his hands behind his back. He was floating like an immortal. 10 years had passed. He was no longer the weak youth from back then. Now, he was the ruler of the world. Don't bully the young for being poor. Most of the time, this was not an empty sentence. When one was young and weak, it did not mean that one would be weak in the future. However, too many people did not understand the meaning of this sentence. So that's how it is. So that's how it is. Tan Qingshan's face was pale as he knelt on the ground and said, Lan Ruo has committed a heinous crime, and I'm willing to accept it on her behalf. Today, I'll die to atone for my crimes. Please forgive the Tiandao sect for the past 10 years. Old sect leader. More than 30 elders sounded sorrowful. Lan Ruo, you are you. You don't need to atone for her sins. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Tan Qingshan said, Lan Ruo has already left the Tianwu continent. It is difficult for you to find her now. Left the Tianwu continent? Lin Feng frowned slightly. Qingshan said, originally, the Sky Martial continent was only one of the 9 continents of the 9 continents, the Sky Martial continent, but for some reason, it was separated and looked at each other across the sea. Our Sky Martial continent's Heavenly Tao sect was a branch of the 9 continents' Heavenly Tao sect, and because of the separation of the continents, we lost contact with the main branch. Half a year ago, the cultivators of the 9 continents' Heavenly Tao sect came to the Sky Martial continent, and we re-established contact with the people of the main branch. Then, the people of the main branch selected more than 30 talented young cultivators from the sect, and also selected a few female cultivators to take care of these young cultivators. Among the selected disciples was Zi Yuan, and Lan Ruo was one of the female cultivators who took care of these talented disciples. Lin Feng frowned slightly. He didn't expect something like this to happen. He was half a year late. Now, Zi Yuan should already be on the way to the 9 regions. In the vast sea, where could he find them? There was also Lan Ruo, that vicious woman. Who would have thought that he would be so lucky to be chosen by someone from the main branch of the Tiandao sect? Since you haven't mistreated Zi Yuan all these years, I will spare the Tiandao sect today so that you can continue to pass on your legacy. Lin Feng said indifferently. Thank you, Young master. Thank you, young master. Hearing this, Tan Qingshan and the others thanked him profusely. Tiandao sect. They were finally safe. Lin Feng waved his hand, and a ball of magic power surged out and wrapped around Chang Jian, Chang Qianqian, and the old servant. The three of them landed on the square of the Tiandao sect. Chang Jian and I have some fate. He came to the Tiandao sect to ask for a kind of pill called the Tianyuhan Xian pill. Do you have it? Lin Feng asked. Tan Qingshan hurriedly said, although we don't have this kind of pill, our sect has the pill formula. We can start refining the pill, and we can finish refining it in 49 days. All right, you two siblings can wait in the Tiandao sect for 49 days. Lin Feng looked at Chang Jian and Chang Qianqian as he said this. Originally, the siblings were worried about the Tianyuhan Xian pill. Now, Lin Feng had solved their problem with a single sentence. At this moment, Chang Jian and Chang Qianqian were full of gratitude towards Lin Feng. The two of them thanked him profusely. You may dispense with the formalities. Lin Feng waved his hand and took a step forward. He had already passed through the void and disappeared without a trace. What kind of person is he? Chang Qianqian saw Lin Feng leave and felt a sense of loss. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart. It would be a great honor to stay by such a young master's side as a servant, right? What a joke. She probably didn't even have the qualifications to be that young master's servant, right? After Lin Feng left the Tiandao sect, he went directly to the 72 prefectures in the north. When he arrived, Lin Feng saw the dilapidated ancient cities and couldn't help but sigh. Many places that used to be bustling and prosperous were now filled with malicious spirits. He went to the desolate region and arrived at the Blue Cloud sect. The current Blue Cloud sect was already in ruins. The once lively training ground was now empty. Even after so many years, the ground and mountains that were stained red with blood did not fade away. Lin Feng walked in front of the 12 peaks. I still remember that Elder Qiao Yunqiu chose me to enter the heaven-mending peak. At that time, Tian Zhongdao, the old drunkard, Fan Xin, Yu Zioong, and the others were also chosen to enter the heaven-mending peak. Tian Zhongdao and the old drunkard left the Blue Cloud sect and weren't affected by the calamity. Lin Feng's heart was heavy. This place buried his friends from the past. It also buried the elders who treated him as their own. Grand Elder Zhang Quan, Grand Elder Qiao Yunqiu, Grand Elder Guoyin, and other elders. These elders were very close to Lin Feng, but now they were buried deep in the earth. Lin Feng was very sad. When the calamity happened, he was powerless to reverse it. Huang Fu Qingtian. Thinking of this name, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel murderous. If it wasn't for Huang Fu Qingtian, this calamity could have been avoided. The tragedy of the 72 northern states wouldn't have happened. His fellow disciples, friends, and elders who were kind to him wouldn't have died tragically in that calamity. Lin Feng looked up at the sky. It was red as if the sky was dyed red with blood. He poured 3 cups of wine for his fellow disciples, friends, and elders who died. Sooner or later, I will use Huang Fu Qingtian's blood as an offering to your souls in heaven. Lin Feng stayed in the Blue Cloud sect for a long time. He couldn't calm down for a long time. In the end, Lin Feng left and flew towards the East Sea. He passed by many states along the way. Cultivators began to appear one after another in the originally desolate and uninhabited states. New residents also began to appear in some cities. They stood on their own feet in the midst of destruction. They were reborn in the midst of destruction. Lin Feng finally smiled. Perhaps one day, the 72 northern states would be able to return to their former liveliness. When he passed through an ancient forest, Lin Feng saw a group of mercenaries besieging a 9-headed flame python. Those mercenaries had obviously underestimated the 9-headed flame python's strength. Now, more than 100 mercenaries had died, and there were only about 300 or 400 left. This mercenary group had suffered heavy casualties, and from the current situation, it was very likely that they would be wiped out under the attack of the 9-headed flame python. Chapter 1552. The 9-headed flame python's strength was not particularly strong. It was roughly equivalent to the 7th or 8th layer of the creation realm. However, compared to the mercenaries, this beast was too powerful. After all, Among the mercenaries, there were very few powerful cultivators. Those cultivators with powerful cultivations also disdained to be mercenaries. Casually finding a large force to be a consecrator would earn more than being a mercenary. Moreover, they lived a carefree life. They also had a relatively high status. In any world, the status of a mercenary was relatively low. Now, this group of mercenaries was constantly dying under the attacks of the nine-headed flame python, but no one could stop the nine-headed flame python. Lin Feng was not a savior. Moreover, he was just a stranger to this group of mercenaries. Therefore, Lin Feng did not intend to help. He was about to leave when he heard a shout. "Retreat! Hurry up and retreat!" This was the voice of a woman. When he heard this voice, Lin Feng felt that it was somewhat familiar. He turned his head and saw a valiant female cultivator wearing dark purple chainmail and men's clothes. When he saw the female cultivator, Lin Feng was slightly stunned. No matter what, he never thought that he would see this woman in this place. Sun Shidong, a woman he had not seen for more than 10 years. Back then, the ancient battlefield of gods and demons opened. Lin Feng and Sikong Jiayue entered the ancient battlefield of gods and demons to train together. When they entered the ancient battlefield of gods and demons, they were ambushed. Someone wanted to kill Lin Feng and Sikong Jiayue and take their storage rings. The person who ambushed them was called Lu Wuqing. This person was injured by Lin Feng, thus forming a grudge between the two sides. Later, Lu Wuqing found his second senior sister Sun Shidong to take revenge, but he could not do anything to Lin Feng. Instead, he was chased by Lin Feng. After capturing Sun Shidong, Lin Feng did not kill Sun Shidong. Lin Feng had always been a gentle person, so he basically would not kill beautiful female cultivators. As for how to deal with beautiful female cultivators, everyone knew. After that incident, Lin Feng never saw Sun Shidong again. He did not expect that after 12 or 13 years, he would see Sun Shidong again. The current Sun Shidong was as beautiful as ever, but compared to before, she had a more mature charm. She actually managed to survive that calamity. Lin Feng's mood was complicated. Sun Shidong's sect was also one of the sects in the 72 northern states. Lin Feng did not know which sect it was, but Lin Feng guessed that it should be an ancient-level sect. That catastrophe, the 72 states of the northern states. Those who survived, very few. It was naturally not easy for Sun Shidong to survive. However, Sun Shidong had become a mercenary. It seemed that her sect had been destroyed, and in order to survive, she had become a mercenary. Who at this time? The nine-headed giant flame python opened its bloody mouth and spat out a fire attack that filled the sky. The flames spat out by the nine-headed giant flame python turned into a dense fireball, which smashed towards the mercenaries. Bang, bang, bang. Fireballs of light bombarded the mercenaries, and when they exploded, many of the mercenaries were either killed or injured. Go to hell. Seeing this scene, Sun Shidong roared angrily. Holding a short blade in each hand, she quickly rushed toward the nine-headed blazing giant python. "Leader, be careful." Many mercenaries cried out in alarm. "All of you, retreat quickly," Sun Shidong shouted. The rest of the mercenaries quickly retreated with the wounded. Sun Shidong quickly came under the flame Sun Shidong and slashed at the flame Sun Shidong's body with the short blade in her hand. But when the short blade cut the flame Sun Shidong's body, suddenly, sparks flew everywhere. Sun Shidong's attack could not break the flame Sun Shidong's defense. Bang! The flame Sun Shidong's huge head swung violently. It hit Sun Shidong directly. Sun Shidong was sent flying. Her face was as pale as paper. Her body was still in midair. The flame Sun Shidong had already opened its bloody mouth and swallowed Sun Shidong. "Leader!" Many mercenaries were enraged when they saw this scene, and they rushed toward the nine-headed blazing python. But the flame Sun Shidong's huge tail suddenly swept. Suddenly, many of the mercenaries were sent flying. Some of the weaker mercenaries were killed by this attack. The flame Sun Shidong was about to be swallowed by the flame Sun Shidong. Sun Shidong found that she could not avoid it. Her face was pale and full of despair. At this time, Sun Shidong suddenly felt that her waist was held by a big hand. She turned around and saw a man hugging her willowy waist. The man raised his left hand and slashed out a beam of sword chi. The powerful nine-headed blazing python was directly killed. Sun Shidong was shocked. This person was so powerful. At this time, she came back to her senses and quickly pushed Lin Feng away. It seems that you did not recognize me. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. What happened in the past was already 12 or 13 years ago. Lin Feng also changed from a teenager to a young man. His appearance had also changed. After more than 10 years, it was not easy to recognize him immediately. Well, this way, there will be less fetters. Lin Feng said to himself and turned to leave. It's you. At this time, Sun Shitong's voice trembled slightly. Lin Feng stopped and turned to look at Sun Shitong. Sun Shitong looked at Lin Feng with a complicated expression. She did recognize Lin Feng. When she saw Lin Feng for the first time, she felt that he was somewhat familiar. Wasn't he the guy that she had not forgotten for more than 10 years? Her pure body was taken away by this man in a stream. How many times had she wanted to take revenge? But as time passed, her hatred for Lin Feng seemed to have lessened. It might be difficult for a woman to always hate the man who took her first time. And when the catastrophe came, her fellow disciples, elders, relatives, all died. It was like the end of the world. Sun Shidong escaped with difficulty. Then, in order to survive, she became a mercenary. Every day, in order to survive, she racked her brains. The hatred of the past had long faded away. Perhaps, only in the middle of the night would she sometimes think of that man. They would think about whether he had died in that calamity. Sometimes, she would feel very sad. A person's life was filled with too many uncertain things. She did not know when the catastrophe would come, until one day, when Sun Shidong thought that she would die tragically under the fangs of the nine-headed flame python. The man who had disappeared for more than 10 years appeared in front of her. Sun Shidong found that she did not hate him. Instead, she was somewhat happy. Too many people had died in the 72 states in the north. She felt that it was really good to see that Lin Feng was still alive in this world. Chapter 1553. Lin Feng said, "This isn't the place to talk. Come with me." Sun Shitong bit her lips and gave some instructions to the mercenaries around her. Then, she followed behind Lin Feng and walked into the distance. Many mercenaries were discussing among themselves, trying to guess the relationship between Lin Feng and their leader. No matter how they looked at it, it seemed like something had happened between the two of them that no one knew about. After walking into a dense forest, Lin Feng stopped. He took out a pill and handed it to Sun Shitong. Sun Shitong gently turned her head, but she did not accept Lin Feng's pill. Perhaps she did not hate Lin Feng anymore. However, Lin Feng was still the man who had taken her first time. Thus, when facing Lin Feng, Sun Shitong still acted more reserved. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and opened Sun Shitong's mouth. He stuffed the pill in and said, "You're injured. If you don't take the pill, your injuries will only worsen. I'm not anyone to you. Why do you care?" Sun Shidong pushed Lin Feng away and said. However, she did not let down Lin Feng's good intentions and swallowed the pill. Lin Feng said, "No matter what, we've been husband and wife in the open. Isn't it normal for me to care about you?" Hearing Lin Feng speak so bluntly, Sun Shidong was angry, annoyed, and embarrassed. She pulled out her dagger and glared fiercely at Lin Feng. "You still remember what happened so many years ago? Do you know that I've always wanted to kill you?" She pressed the dagger against Lin Feng's neck. Lin Feng did not dodge. Instead, he said, "I don't believe you. I don't feel any killing intent from you." Sun Shitong gritted her teeth and said, "Don't think that I don't dare to kill you." Lin Feng snatched the dagger from Sun Shitong's hand and threw it on the ground. He then grabbed Sun Shitong's waist. "You bastard, let go of me." Sun Shidong immediately began to struggle. When old lovers meet, is there a need to shout and kill like this? I think we should get closer to each other. Lin Feng said with a smile. "Who's your old lover? You shameless bastard." Sun Shitong gritted her teeth and said, "Who else could it be other than you?" Lin Feng smiled and looked at Sun Shitong. Sun Shitong glared hatefully at Lin Feng and said, "If you don't let go, I'll kill you." Lin Feng gently stroked Sun Shitong's hair and face as he sighed and said, "It must have been hard on you for so many years." Hearing Lin Feng's words of concern, Sun Shitong's struggle instantly weakened a lot. It had indeed been too hard on her all these years. His fellow disciples, elders, friends, and relatives were all dead. She was the only one left. Moreover, she was a beautiful female cultivator. It was even more difficult for a lone, beautiful female cultivator to survive. You don't have to worry about me. Sun Shitong turned her face away. Lin Feng said, "Of course I have to worry about you. I'm not anyone to you. You don't have the right to worry." Sun Shitong wanted to push Lin Feng away, but she couldn't push Lin Feng away. Perhaps Sun Shitong didn't really want to leave this embrace that she could rely on. Just like before, when facing the nine-headed blazing python, Sun Shitong had no one to rely on. She could only rely on herself, but there were many things that a woman like her couldn't handle. Lin Feng had appeared in the nick of time to save her. He had protected her. He had killed the nine-headed serpent, and then he had taken care of her. He had even given her a pill to heal her injuries. Maybe that was what she needed to rely on? "You're my woman. Is that enough?" Lin Feng directly carried Sun Shitong and walked into the small forest. "Put me down. What are you going to do to me? You bastard." Half an hour later, Sun Shitong followed Lin Feng out of the room, her face flushed red. The way to deal with women was actually very simple. That was to do it once. If it was something that couldn't be solved after doing it once, then do it twice. This was a truth that had never changed since ancient times. Of course, the premise was that the woman had an ambiguous relationship with you. If it was a stranger, if you wanted to do it, you would be acting like a hooligan. That would be a crime. Sun Shitong looked at Lin Feng with a complicated expression, thinking of what had just happened. She still felt her face burning. "What's your name?" Sun Shitong asked faintly. She didn't even know the name of the man she had lost her virginity to twice. "Your man is called Lin Feng." Sun Shitong spat, but she felt a little happy in her heart. She had a man, and it was a man she could rely on. However, Sun Shitong quickly felt that this name was very familiar. She suddenly thought of a few years ago, the leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army, whose name shook the Sky Martial continent, seemed to be called Lin Feng. Lin Feng. 2 years ago, the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army and the Demon Slave Army fought. The leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army was also called Lin Feng, but it was said that he died together with the Sky Demon. "Why are you also called Lin Feng?" Sun Shitong asked doubtfully, but she did not connect Lin Feng with the leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army. Firstly, the leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army, Lin Feng, had already fallen. This was something that everyone in the Sky Martial continent knew. Secondly, the leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army, Lin Feng, was an existence that could fight against gods. As for her man, Lin Feng, although his strength was not bad, he was still too young. He was even younger than her by a few years. Compared to gods, she was afraid that he was thousands of miles away. No matter how she thought of it, it was impossible to connect the two Lin Feng to the same person. Sun Shitong said, "In this world, there are many people with the same name and surname." Was my question just now very stupid? Lin Feng grabbed Sun Shitong's hand and pulled her to his side. He caressed Sun Shitong's beautiful face and kissed her on the forehead. "You're not stupid. Your man is much stronger than you think," said Lin Feng, taking her hand and pulling her to his side. "You're not stupid. Your man is much stronger than you think." Sun Shitong blushed and nodded. "Go back and see if your subordinates have finished cleaning up the battlefield," Lin Feng said. "Ah, it's all your fault, for wasting so much time." Sun Shitong immediately bit her lips, her face so red that it seemed like blood would drip out. A man and a woman had left for so long. They had gone to do something. This was something that could be easily guessed. Now, the prestige I established in front of them is about to crumble. Sun Shitong bit her lips. Isn't asterisk 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 a very normal thing? Your prestige was obtained by protecting them with your life. How could they stop respecting you just because you have a man? You don't have to worry about personal gains and losses, Lin Feng said. Sun Shitong was much more confident now. The two of them walked towards the mercenary group. In the distance, they saw over 1,000 mercenaries surrounding Sun Shitong's subordinates. The two sides seemed to be in conflict. "You want to kill me and steal my treasures?" Lin Feng frowned slightly. Killing people to steal treasures was a common thing. The nine-headed python was extremely valuable, and Sun Shitong's side only had about 300 people left. Many of them were injured, while the enemy had over 1,000 people. When they saw the nine-headed python, they wanted to kill them and steal their treasures. It was a very normal thing. Chapter 1554. Sun Shidong became anxious when she saw the situation. She quickly flew over. That silly woman. She's always rushing forward. Lin Feng shook his head and quickly followed her. He couldn't bear to see Sun Shidong suffer. Soon, the two arrived at the place of conflict. Zhang Chong, why did you bring so many people to surround us? What do you want? Sun Shidong clearly knew the leader of the mercenaries and couldn't help but ask coldly. The leader of the mercenaries had a centipede-like scar on his face, making him look extremely ugly. He was the Zhang Chong that Sun Shitong had mentioned. When Zhang Chong saw Sun Shitong coming over, a lustful glint flashed in his eyes. Hee, leader son, I was just about to ask you to be the judge. Our Heaven-Seek mercenary group went through untold hardships and lost dozens of brothers to severely injure this nine-headed flame python. However, this nine-headed flame python retaliated before it died and escaped without a trace. We chased it all the way here, only to see your subordinates taking advantage of the dead nine-headed flame python. Leader son, please be the judge. Shouldn't this nine-headed flame python be returned to us? You're shameless. In order to deal with this nine-headed flame python, we lost more than 200 brothers. Sun Shidong said angrily. She didn't tell them that the nine-headed flame python was killed by Lin Feng. She was mainly worried that Lin Feng would be involved in this matter. Zhang Chong had a powerful background. They couldn't afford to offend him. Even if Lin Feng's cultivation wasn't bad, in Sun Shitong's opinion, only death awaited him after offending Zhang Chong. Haha, who can prove what you said? Can you find a witness for me? If you can't find a witness, this nine-headed flame python will be ours. You don't have any objections, right? If you do, you can say it. At most, we'll fight, and the winner will get it. How about it? Zhang Chong laughed loudly. Sun Shitong and her subordinates were livid with anger. Zhang Chong's words were simply too shameless. Fight? How could they fight? They had more than 1,000 people. Sun Shidong had 300 people, and many of them were injured. This was simply bullying. However, even if he bullied you, you have to be patient too. Looking at Sun Shidong's ashen face, Zhang Chong chuckled and said, I told you long ago that as a woman, you should find a man to rely on. Follow me to the grove now and serve me well. Then, I'll give you the nine-headed python. How about it? You're shameless. Sun Shidong was so angry that her pretty face turned livid. Haha, we'll know if I'm shameless or not when we get to the forest. Zhang Chong laughed lewdly. His eyes fiercely scraped Sun Shitong's hot body, and he swallowed his saliva from time to time. Haha, once Big Brother is done enjoying himself, will we be able to enjoy ourselves? The rest of the mercenaries laughed as well. Reckless. Lin Feng's expression suddenly darkened. At this time, Zhang Chong finally noticed Lin Feng. Suddenly, his eyes became gloomy, and he sneered. I originally thought that you, Sun Shitong, were a chaste woman. Just now, you came with this brat, and your face was flushed. Who doesn't know what you've done? Ha 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 ha, this brat is just a gigolo. He's definitely not good in the field of men and women. If it were me, I'd make sure that you'd want to do it a second time. Sun Shidong was so angry that her whole body was trembling. At this moment, this Zhang Chong, in Lin Feng's eyes, was already on his kill list. How dare you insult my woman? Nobody in this world can save your life, said Lin Feng coldly. Lin Feng looked at Zhang Chong indifferently. Ha ha ha, what is this gigolo saying? Zhang Chong obviously didn't put Lin Feng in his eyes, and immediately shouted in disdain. This gigolo said that no one in this world can save you, boss. Has this gigolo lost his mind? A group of mercenaries started to clamor. Sun Shitong was afraid that Lin Feng would offend Zhang Chong, so she hastily grabbed Lin Feng's arm and whispered, Don't offend those people, they're from Tianwen City. The leader of Tianwen City, Chu Wen Tian, is a cultivator from the continent of the 9 continents. We can't afford to offend him. We don't want the nine-headed python, Just give it to them. Looking at Sun Shitong's pale face, her frightened and worried expression, Lin Feng really felt sorry for her. He patted Sun Shitong's face and said, "It's not about a mere nine-headed flame python, do you understand? It's because this bastard dared to insult you. You're Lin Feng's woman, and no one in this world can bully you. No matter who it is, if they bully you, I'll make them die without a burial ground. Brat, who do you think you are? You dare to act tough in front of me? Brothers, kill this brat for me." Zhang Chang's face was filled with a sinister smile. "Yes, big brother." Immediately, a group of mercenaries answered. Then, these mercenaries rushed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng raised his right hand and pressed down on the air. Buzz, a palm the size of 100 mu condensed and shot towards the thousands of mercenaries. When the huge hand of energy pressed down, Yi Zichen was stunned. Everyone was shocked to find that they were unable to move. Zhang Chang originally had a high and mighty expression. Now, he was as pale as a sheet of paper. He cried out in fear, "You can't kill me. My primordial spirit lamp is in Heaven-Seeking City. My brother-in-law is a lieutenant of Heaven-Seeking City's Heaven-Seeking Army. If you kill me, my brother-in-law won't let you off, and you're dead for sure." Bang! Lin Feng did not answer him. What answered him was the huge energy palm. It descended from the sky. It smashed down. Zhang Chang and the thousands of mercenaries were all smashed into meat paste by the energy palm. So strong. Sun Shitong's subordinates were all extremely shocked. They were all guessing what cultivation level Lin Feng was at. Just now, when Lin Feng killed the nine-headed raging flame python, it had already brought them a deep shock. But now, he had killed over 1,000 mercenaries, including Zhang Chang, with a single palm strike, which brought them even greater shock. One had to know. Zhang Chang himself was an expert, and his strength was probably much stronger than the nine-headed raging flame python. Furthermore, Zhang Chang's mercenary group also had 7 or 8 of his sworn brothers. Those people were all unfathomable and not weaker than Zhang Chang. However, under Lin Feng's attack, they didn't even have the strength to resist and were instantly killed. Could it be that this young master has the strength of a rebirth realm cultivator? Many of Sun Shitong's subordinates could not help but guess. Thinking that Lin Feng might be a rebirth realm cultivator, these people's faces were filled with incomparable shock. At such a young age, he was already a rebirth realm cultivator? In the future, he might even become a god. Chapter 1555. The Heaven-Seeking City was located in the Xian Prefecture, one of the 72 prefectures in the north. This ancient city was built on the foundation of the Xian Prefecture's first ancient capital, Xuandu. The owner, Chu Wentian, had crossed the endless sea from the 9 prefectures. Furthermore, he had brought many experts with him. This Chu Wentian was quite a character. After coming to the Sky Martial Continent, he had quietly nurtured his own power. He had started from the desolate 72 prefectures in the north. He had created the Heaven-Seeking City, the Heaven-Seeking Legion, and then occupied 29 of the 72 prefectures in the north. Later on, the other powers regained their senses and began to occupy the other prefectures in the north. However, it was already too late. Currently, the strongest power in the 72 prefectures was the Heaven-Seeking City. Countless experts had come to seek refuge with Chu Wentian. Zhang Chang's brother-in-law was a rebirth realm expert and was considered a peak expert in the Sky Martial Continent. Thus, Zhang Chang's brother-in-law was very trusted by Chu Wentian. Zhang Chang's brother-in-law was called Ma Tianyuan and was originally one of the few sovereigns in the North Sea. Now, he was the commander of the Heaven-Seeking Legion's 3rd Legion. As for the Heaven-Seeking Mercenary Group, it was not established by Chu Wentian. Chu Wentian did not have the time to care about such small matters. The Heaven-Seeking Mercenary Group was established by the 5 commanders of the Heaven-Seeking Legion. Their goal was to amass wealth. Zhang Chang had become a leader of the Heaven-Seeking Mercenary Group through his relationship with his brother-in-law, Ma Tianyuan. Normally, he acted like a tyrant, but now, he had been killed. In the Heaven-Seeking City's Elemental Spirit Lamp Hall, there was Zhang Chang's Elemental Spirit Lamp Hall. Originally, his Elemental Spirit Lamp Hall did not have the qualifications to be placed here. It was only because of his brother-in-law, Ma Tianyuan, that his elemental spirit lamp hall was placed here. Several servants were cleaning the elemental spirit lamp hall when Zhang Chang's elemental spirit lamp shattered. This frightened the servants. They hurriedly went to look for the elder of the hall. The elder then reported the matter, and many of the heaven-seeking legion's upper echelons arrived. The 3rd Legion's commander said, "Commander Ma, isn't this Zhang Chang your brother-in-law?" Ma Tunyuan nodded gloomily and cupped his fists. "He is indeed my brother-in." The 3rd Legion's commander was a deity who had followed Chu Wintian from the 9 prefectures, and his expression was gloomy. From his point of view, this was not a problem of Zhang Chang alone. Zhang Chang was from the heaven-seeking city. If you want to beat a dog, you have to look at its owner. Killing Zhang Chang, was this not giving the heaven-seeking city any face? This was the reason why the 3rd Legion commander was so angry. The 3rd Army commander said, "Since he's your brother-in-law, I'll leave this matter to you. Remember, no one can challenge the dignity of my heaven-seeking city." "Yes, my lord. I'll go to the Complete Sky Palace and use the Complete Sky Mirror to see what happened back then. Then, I'll lead some people to deal with it. I'm sure you'll be satisfied." Ma Tianyuan said, "All right, go ahead." The commander of the 3rd Legion waved his hand. After killing Zhang Chang and the others, Lin Feng asked Sun Shitong's subordinates to collect the storage rings of Zhang Chang and the others. The things in Zhang Chang's storage rings weren't attractive to Lin Feng, but to these mercenaries, they were extremely tempting. However, Sun Shitong had a worried look on her face. Lin Feng had killed Zhang Chang, which made her extremely worried. One Zhang Chang might not be a threat. The key was the power behind Zhang Chang. That was the heaven-seeking city. What good would come of offending the heaven-seeking city? "You guys can disperse. Don't follow me anymore, or you'll be killed." Sun Shitong looked at her subordinates. No matter what, Sun Shitong wouldn't leave Lin Feng. She had made up her mind. No matter what danger they faced, they would face it together with Lin Feng. However, she couldn't bear to see these subordinates who had followed her for so many years hide. In the end, they might even die. Lin Feng watched this scene from the side, but he didn't interrupt. Although he had displayed extraordinary strength, Sun Shitong clearly felt that he was still far from being able to contend against the heaven-seeking city. So what if he was in the rebirth realm? In front of the heaven-seeking city, he was still an ant. "Commander, let's not leave. Let's go to another continent. If we leave the heaven-seeking city's territory, they won't be able to find us. Moreover, this young master is already so strong at such a young age. In the future, he will definitely break through to the deity realm. When that time comes, we won't be afraid of the heaven-seeking city. Yeah, what's there to be afraid of? At most, we'll just lose our lives. 18 years later, we'll be heroes again." A group of mercenaries shouted. They were still very loyal to Sun Shitong. Sun Shitong was a little hesitant. At this time, Lin Feng said, "Let's go overseas. The Eastern Sea is a good place." Everyone's eyes suddenly lit up. Although most of them had never been out to sea before, they were still in awe of the sea. However, they had also heard that there were countless resources in the sea. Moreover, the sea was boundless and was a good place to hide. Entering the sea, no matter how strong the heaven-seeking city was, it would be difficult to find them. "Okay, let's go overseas." Sun Shitong bit her lips. Because the calamity that year had destroyed many ancient cities, the space-time wormhole had been directly paralyzed. Now, they could only choose to fly overseas. However, flying directly was too far and would consume too much energy. Lin Feng felt that they should still buy some flying mounts. Thus, he said, "Let's find a town and buy some griffins." Griffins were long-distance flying mounts. It saved time and effort. For such a long distance, riding a griffin was the best choice. No one had any objections. Then, they went to a place called Wangxian Town. They bought 30 griffins from the market in Wangxian Town. Then, everyone left on the griffins. Lin Feng and Sun Shitong rode on a griffin alone. The griffins they rode sped up and rushed forward, shaking off the griffins behind them. Sun Shitong's subordinates also consciously did not follow too closely. The two of them lay on the griffin's furry feathers. The wind whistled. Sun Shitong snuggled in Lin Feng's arms and closed her eyes, enjoying this rare silence. "What kind of place is overseas?" I heard that it's very dangerous. I wonder if we can survive there? Sun Shidong was still a little worried. With me here, what are you afraid of? Lin Feng caressed Sun Shitong's delicate and beautiful face. Then, he slowly lowered his head. Sun Shitong blushed, closed her eyes, and began to respond to Lin Feng. Lin Feng and the others did not travel smoothly. On the third day, they were caught up by the heaven-seeking army. This place was not too far from an ancient city. The heaven-seeking army happened to be resting in the ancient city. 30 griffins passed by here and attracted the attention of the heaven-seeking army. They were rather unlucky and just happened to run into the muzzle of the heaven-seeking army. Seeing the densely packed heaven-seeking army cultivators chasing after them, Sun Shidong was so scared that her face turned pale and her body trembled. It's the heaven-seeking army. The cultivators of the heaven-seeking army are all experts, especially the 5 commanders. They're all in the deity realm. We're dead for sure. Sun Shidong's voice trembled. Chapter 1556. Lin Feng naturally didn't care about the Wintian Legion. However, Sun Shitong was clearly frightened. She looked at Lin Feng and said in a trembling voice, "Hurry up and run. We'll help you block them for a while. Maybe you can escape." Escape? Why should I escape? They're just a bunch of small fries. What's there to be afraid of? Lin Feng said indifferently. Seeing that Lin Feng wasn't willing to leave, Sun Shidong was so anxious that she almost cried. Not long after, the Wintian Legion caught up. Then, 3,000 to 4,000 Wintian Legion soldiers surrounded Lin Feng and the others. "Brat, you're the one who killed my brother-in-law, Zhangchang?" Ma Tianyuan looked at Lin Feng fiercely. The killing intent in his eyes wasn't concealed at all. Ma Tianyuan was a North Sea rogue cultivator, and he was a famous person in the past. Life and death. In a single thought. He had the aura of a superior. If an ordinary person saw Ma Tianyuan, they would probably be so scared that they couldn't stand up. However, Ma Tianyuan was nothing in front of Lin Feng. Describing him as an ant or a dog was already giving him a lot of face. Even an ordinary god was just a small fry in front of Lin Feng. Only a divine flame expert could make Lin Feng feel threatened. However, how could a divine flame expert be so easy to see? "So you're Zhang Chang's brother-in-law. Your brother-in-law deserved to die. I'll give you a chance now. Quickly take your people and leave, and I'll spare your life," Lin Feng said indifferently. At this moment, many cultivators in the ancient city came out with the Wintian Legion to watch the show. Many cultivators were scattered around, and when they heard Lin Feng's arrogant words, the corners of their mouths twitched violently. Lin Feng was a young cultivator. He actually dared to say such words to Ma Tianyuan. Wasn't he seeking his own death? Many people thought that Lin Feng was crazy. Even Sun Shidong and her 300 subordinates couldn't help but smile bitterly. They had seen arrogant people before. He had never seen someone as arrogant as Lin Feng. Everyone knew that Lin Feng was very powerful. It was very likely that he was a rebirth realm expert. However, Ma Tianyuan was also a rebirth state expert. Moreover, he was at the peak of the rebirth state. He was almost invincible in the rebirth state. Not to mention, Ma Tianyuan still had 3,000 cultivators from the Ask Heaven Legion by his side. Lin Feng was still so arrogant, which made them smile bitterly. They really didn't know what to do. "Captain, let's break out of the encirclement. There are no gods here. Maybe we can break out of the encirclement under the leadership of the prince," a mercenary said. Sun Shidong looked at Lin Feng. His eyes were full of pleading, hoping that Lin Feng would agree to this request. Break out? Why did they break out? Dealing with a bunch of ants? Do they still need to break through? I can kill them with one hand. Lin Feng said indifferently. "Brat, you're courting death." Ma Tianyuan roared angrily. He could no longer tolerate such an arrogant Lin Feng. This was completely looking down on him, Ma Tianyuan and the heaven-seeking legion. Isn't this too arrogant? I've never seen such an arrogant person. Being arrogant in front of the heaven-seeking legion, he doesn't even know how strong he is. Isn't this courting death? Many people shook their heads. These people didn't think that Lin Feng had the strength to defeat Ma Tianyuan or the heaven-seeking legion. After all, Lin Feng was too young. Perhaps he had some strength. However, the heaven-seeking army had the advantage in numbers. Ants could even bite an elephant to death. The disparity in strength between the two sides was too great. Sun Shidong and her subordinates didn't know how to end this. Because Lin Feng had no intention of leaving. Many people had fierce gazes, ready to fight to the death with the heaven-seeking legion. Very good. Very good. I, Ma Tianyuan, have roamed the Tianwu continent for 7,300 years. What kind of people have I not seen? I've even seen many extraterrestrial beings, heavenly demons, and young masters of some of the top forces in the continent of the 9 provinces. Those big shots weren't as arrogant as you. Today, I've learned something new. Ma Tianyuan was so angry that he laughed. Lin Feng curled his lips and said, "That's because you're ignorant. Extraterrestrial beings are only worthy of carrying my shoes. Heavenly demons are just ants in my eyes. The so-called young masters of the continent of the 9 provinces are just a bunch of idiots in my eyes. How can they compare to me?" After Lin Feng said this, the world fell silent. No one spoke again. Originally, everyone thought that Lin Feng was arrogant enough. Only now did they know. What was that just now? Comparing the arrogance just now to the arrogance now, it wasn't even worth mentioning. Is this guy really so arrogant because he has the ability? Or is it because he knows that he's going to die, so he's bragging before he dies? Many people muttered in their hearts. Many people were leaning towards the last possibility, because Lin Feng was really too young. In the world of cultivators, any random person would have cultivated for hundreds, thousands, or even thousands of years. But Lin Feng? Even if he started cultivating in his mother's womb, how many years had he cultivated for? In such a short period of cultivation, how powerful could he be? Ma Tianyuan was already burning with anger. He only had one thought now, and that was to tear this arrogant guy Lin Feng into pieces to vent the hatred in his heart. Ma Tianyuan didn't hesitate. He waved his hand and shouted coldly, "What are you waiting for? Kill this kid for me." Yes, the cultivators of the Wentian Legion were already on the verge of losing their patience. Many people wanted to tear this arrogant guy Lin Feng into pieces, but Ma Tianyuan hadn't given the order, so they didn't dare to act on their own. Now that Ma Tianyuan had given the order, the 3,000 cultivators of the Wentian Legion roared and charged towards Lin Feng and the others with great momentum. That kid is going to die. Many onlookers whispered to each other. They didn't think that Lin Feng could withstand the attack of the Wentian Legion. Seeing the Wentian Legion's cultivators rolling over, Sun Shidong and her 300 subordinates were so scared that their faces turned pale. They wanted to fight with their lives on the line, but now they realized that they didn't even have the courage to fight. At that moment, Lin Feng smiled coldly. "You're just a bunch of ants and you dare provoke me?" Lin Feng took a step forward, and a terrifying pressure spread out from his body. Bang, 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 bang. The cultivators of the Wentian Legion couldn't control their bodies. One by one, their bodies exploded, turning into a bloody mist. In the blink of an eye, all 3,000 cultivators of the Wentian Legion had died. How is this possible? Ma Tianyuan, who was at the peak of the rebirth realm, shouted in disbelief. Bang! In the next moment, his body also exploded, and his body and soul were destroyed on the spot. Between heaven and earth, absolute silence. Countless people watched this scene with pale faces. That young master had only taken a step forward, and the pressure he emitted had actually killed 3,000 experts of the Wentian Legion, including Ma Tianyuan. What kind of cultivation was this? Wasn't it too terrifying? Could it be that he was a god? Thinking of this possibility, many people were almost scared to death. Chapter 1557. Everyone was too shocked, because the strength that Lin Feng had displayed was too powerful. So young, yet so powerful. It was as if a god had descended to the mortal world, sacred and inviolable. Could it be that he's really a god? Someone muttered to himself. Many people were considering this question. Was Lin Feng a god? He shouldn't be a god, right? How can there be such a young god? But he might be at the peak of the rebirth realm, or even the demigod realm, someone said. Everyone thought about it, and felt that it was possible. Some super monsters could almost instantly kill cultivators of the same level. So, if Lin Feng was also at the peak of the rebirth realm, or even the demigod realm, it was not impossible for him to kill the cultivators of the Wintian Legion with his own aura. As for God, no one believed it, nor did they want to believe that Lin Feng was at the divine realm. He was a god at such a young age. Wasn't this too much of a blow? They're all dead. Lin Gongzi is too powerful, isn't he? No wonder the commander hasn't found a man after being single for so many years. It turns out that the commander already has such a powerful man. Sun Shitong's subordinates were all discussing in shock. Immediately after, they went to collect the storage rings. For these mercenaries, the storage rings of the Wintian Legion cultivators were filled with endless temptation. It was even more tempting than beautiful women. Sun Shitong looked at Lin Feng as if she didn't know Lin Feng. She knew that Lin Feng's cultivation was very powerful. However, she didn't expect Lin Feng to be so powerful. With such a cultivation, could he be called the #1 expert below the divine realm? Sun Shidong felt that perhaps other than the true gods, in this world, there was probably no one else who was a match for Lin Feng. How can you be so powerful? Sun Shidong even looked at Lin Feng with some admiration. Lin Feng lowered his voice and said, "What do you think? My strength is the same as when I was doing it on Mount Wu, very powerful." Hearing Lin Feng's explicit words, Sun Shitong's pretty face was pink, and her legs were a little weak.
Shameless.
Sun Shitong snorted at Lin Feng. However, in her mind, she couldn't help but think of some scenes of making love with Lin Feng. He only felt that his body was slightly hot. Tui. What am I thinking? Sun Shitong bit her red lips and glared fiercely at Lin Feng. She blamed everything on Lin Feng. In the past, when Lin Feng hadn't appeared, she wouldn't have thought about these messy things. Now that Lin Feng had appeared, not only had she lost her virginity again and again, but she had also been distracted and had let her imagination run wild. At this moment, Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at the sky. Rumble. A huge vortex appeared in the sky. Terrifying fluctuations were emitted from the huge vortex. Look, what's that? Many people pointed at the huge vortex that had appeared in the sky. Feeling the tyrannical aura emitted from the vortex, many cultivators' faces turned pale, as if they were facing a wild beast that was about to awaken. Clearly, some terrifying existence was about to descend. Swish, a dazzling light surged out. In the endless divine light, a man walked out. This was a tall man. He was 3 meters tall, like an iron tower. His body exuded a suffocating pressure. His divine power was vast. It enveloped all directions. Many people felt the terrifying aura from this man, and their faces were as pale as paper. This man was too powerful. God. It's a god. Someone cried out in horror. A god had descended to the world. It's him, the heaven-seeking army's 3rd army commander, Zhuge Long. Someone recognized the god's identity. Zhuge Long. It could be said that he was a famous existence. Heaven-seeking army. It was Zhuge Long who was in charge. This deity realm expert was Chu Wentian's right-hand man. He was high and mighty, looking down on the heavens. Ma Tianyuan is Zhuge Long's trusted subordinate. He was just killed by that young master, and the 3,000 cultivators of the heaven-seeking army were all killed. Then, Zhuge Long appeared. Although that young master's strength is not bad, facing a true god, I'm afraid he will die this time. A cultivator said. Many people agreed with this cultivator's words and nodded repeatedly. Even if it was a demigod, in front of a god, they were like ants. Moreover, Lin Feng might only be at the peak of the rebirth realm. If that was the case, Lin Feng wasn't even a demigod. Sun Shidong was already so scared that her face was pale. She originally thought that after Lin Feng killed Ma Tianyuan and the cultivators of the heaven-seeking army, they would have enough time to leave. But she didn't expect. A high and mighty god. In such a short period of time, he had already descended. He didn't give them any time to leave. The situation in front of them was too despairing. Sun Shitong's subordinates looked at the gods standing in the sky. They also felt that their mouths were dry. No matter how confident they were in Lin Feng, but facing a god, this kind of confidence, it had long since vanished into thin air. To have such strength at the peak of the rebirth realm, he is indeed powerful. Zhuge Long's cold gaze swept towards Lin Feng. As expected, he is at the peak of the rebirth realm. Many cultivators whispered. They couldn't see Lin Feng's cultivation clearly. But since the god said that Lin Feng was at the peak of the rebirth realm, then Lin Feng should be at this cultivation level. The god shouldn't be wrong. You are the commander of the Third Army? Those people just now were all your subordinates? Lin Feng said indifferently. Many people were surprised. Facing a god. Surprisingly, Lin Feng still looked calm and indifferent. Wasn't this too arrogant? That's right, they are my subordinates. Unfortunately, I came a step too late and couldn't save them. Zhuge Long's voice turned cold. If I had come earlier, you would have died with them. Lin Feng said indifferently. What did that guy say? Many people looked at each other, unable to believe their ears. Sun Shidong and the others were completely stunned. They also couldn't believe what they had heard. Zhuge Long was also slightly stunned, but he quickly regained his senses. His face was extremely gloomy. In his eyes, Lin Feng was just an ant. But now, an ant dared to be so arrogant in front of him. Was he looking down on Zhuge Long? Zhuge Long had cultivated for 720,000 years. He had never seen anyone who dared to provoke a god. Zhuge Long looked at Lin Feng sinisterly and said coldly, "Brat, do you know what you are saying?" Lin Feng flicked his sleeves and said indifferently, "Of course I know what I am saying. It wasn't easy for you to cultivate to the deity realm. If you kneel on the ground and kowtow and apologize, I will spare your life today. Otherwise, next year, today will be your death anniversary." Crazy. He must be crazy. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the surrounding cultivators started shouting hysterically. Lin Feng actually dared to make a god kneel. This was too arrogant. In their eyes, this was a challenge to a god's dignity. This was simply courting death. Chapter 1558. The majesty of a god was not to be provoked, but now, Lin Feng had repeatedly provoked the majesty of a god. No one could understand why Lin Feng was doing this. Did he really not put a god in his eyes? That was a god, high and mighty, an existence that looked down on billions of living beings. Zhuge Long was now enraged by Lin Feng. He didn't even want to directly kill Lin Feng, this ant who dared to provoke him, because in Zhuge Long's opinion, directly killing Lin Feng was too easy for Lin Feng. He should capture Lin Feng. Then, he would use all kinds of methods to torture Lin Feng. Only in this way could he vent his anger. Brat. An ant like you actually dares to provoke a god like this. Now, I will let you know how terrifying the anger of a god is. Zhuge Long's sinister voice came out. Immediately after, his big hand opened, covering the sky and the sun, destroying the sky. He directly grabbed Lin Feng. The pressure of a god filled the air. The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show trembled when they felt the divine power emitted from Zhuge Long's body. Plop, plop. Many weaker cultivators even directly knelt on the ground. Their butts were up. Their heads were on the ground. They were like ducks lying on the ground. They were worshipping Zhuge Long. This is a god's move. Once a god makes a move, the pressure he emits is not something that we mortals can contend against. Many people said in shock and horror. Sun Shidong was so scared that her face was as pale as paper. Because this was an attack from a god. She was very worried about Lin Feng's safety. Under the attack of a god, Lin Feng probably didn't have the strength to resist, right? If she could die in place of Lin Feng, Sun Shidong would even rush out without hesitation. But now, the divine power enveloped him. Sun Shidong couldn't move at all. She could only watch as the god attacked Lin Feng. Just when everyone thought that Lin Feng would not be able to escape this calamity. At this moment, Lin Feng sneered. "You're just a god at the third sky of Nihility God Realm. You're pitifully weak. How dare you jump around in front of me? You really don't know your place." Many people muttered to themselves. Shindu had made his move. It was almost impossible to escape this calamity. How dare he be so contemptuous of God? What on earth was this fellow thinking? Do you want to disgust God before you die? All sorts of thoughts flashed through everyone's minds. But at this moment, everyone felt a dazzling light. It streaked across the sky. Everyone saw that it was Lin Feng's saber light. He casually waved his hand. The saber light split the sky. This saber light directly enveloped Zhuge Long. Under the shroud of this saber light, Zhuge Long was shocked to find that he could not escape. How is this possible? Zhuge Long roared in disbelief. His originally calm and collected face was now filled with a horrified expression. Only now did Zhuge Long know. It was the young human cultivator. How terrifying was he? Could it be that he was hiding his cultivation? But all of this was no longer important. The power of Lin Feng's casual attack had already scared Zhuge Long out of his wits. Zhuge Long did not dare to hesitate. He hurriedly condensed a sacred art to block Lin Feng's attack. However, the sacred art that Zhuge Long condensed was instantly torn apart by Lin Feng's sky splitter. Puff. Then, Zhuge Long was directly split in half by Lin Feng's attack. Between heaven and earth, there was no more sound. In everyone's eyes, they were all deeply shocked. Unbelievable. Killing a god with a wave of his hand. And it was an instant kill. What kind of strength was this? Could it be the divine fire realm? Thinking of this, many people were so scared that their bodies trembled. And Sun Shitong finally understood the meaning of Lin Feng's words. Your man is much more powerful than you think. It turned out that he was actually powerful to this extent. He is the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army. In an instant, Sun Shitong thought of a possibility. Lin Feng was such a terrifying existence, it was impossible for him to be unknown. And there was indeed a person called Lin Feng, whose name shook the sky martial continent. That was the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army. Although it was widely spread in the outside world that the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army had fallen, but it was said that the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army was swallowed by the space-time reversal. Although everyone thought that he was dead for sure, but no one saw his corpse. Sun Shitong's heart was filled with shock, and her emotions were complicated. She had never thought that her man would have such a great background. For a moment, Sun Shitong was even a little absent-minded. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and grabbed Zhuge Long's godly original strength. Then, he injected all of Zhuge Long's divine source into Sun Shitong's body. After receiving the replenishment of Zhuge Long's divine source, Sun Shitong's cultivation rose steadily. Not long after, he broke through from the 3rd level of the creation realm to the 10th level of the creation realm, then broke through to the rebirth realm, all the way until the 5th level of the rebirth realm before stopping. I've become a cultivator of the 5th level of the rebirth realm just like that? Sun Shitong cried out in alarm, her expression filled with disbelief. He had raised his cultivation by 12 realms in one go. This was simply like a dream. Lin Feng laughed and said, "This is only half of the divine source. This is almost the limit of what your body can withstand. The other half of the divine source is sealed in your dantian. Now you need to adapt and stabilize for a period of time before you can continue to absorb the divine source and increase your cultivation." Sun Shitong was extremely excited. She immediately hugged Lin Feng and gave him a kiss. Usually, Sun Shitong was more conservative. Now that she was so excited that she could not control herself, she took the initiative to give Lin Feng a kiss in front of so many people. When she came back to her senses, she quickly separated from Lin Feng, her face so red that it could bleed. There were many female cultivators in the crowd, and there were also some beautiful female cultivators. At this moment, those female cultivators were all looking at Sun Shitong with envy and jealousy. Lin Feng was young, handsome, and powerful to the point of being able to kill gods. This kind of man was simply the most perfect man. They did not feel that they were inferior to Sun Shitong. Many female cultivators realized that Sun Shitong was just a mercenary. Many of those female cultivators came from large clans, and compared to Sun Shitong, they felt even more superior. However, they did not have the chance to meet a man like Lin Feng. How could they not be jealous of Sun Shitong? "Let's go," Lin Feng said. At this time, the mercenary group came back to their senses. The 30 griffins quickly flew into the distance. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared without a trace. Countless cultivators were left behind, excitedly discussing what had just happened. "Junior brother, is the video recording done?" In the distance, there were more than 10 cultivators gathered together. They were from the Celestial Array sect, a sect that specialized in array formations. One of the Celestial Array sect's disciples was holding a crystal ball of light. which was densely packed with array patterns. This was an extremely precious crystal ball of light. This crystal ball of light was called a memory ball of light, and it could capture the scene that happened. The celestial array sect's cultivator holding the crystal ball of light said excitedly, "It's recorded. Now we can imprint the scene in the memory ball. This time, we're rich." Chapter 1559. Breaking news. A human cultivator killed the Wintian Legion's 3rd Legion commander in Xian Prefecture. Someone recorded the scene with a memory ball. You can buy a crystal ball with that scene in the auction house now. The shocking news spread in many cities. First, it spread to the 72 prefectures in the north. Then, it spread to other prefectures, even overseas. The disciples of the Celestial Array sect sold the memory ball to the auction house. The auction house used a crystal ball to record the scene in the memory ball. They began to sell it in many cities. Therefore, this matter caused a great sensation. Is it true? Zhuge Long was really killed in an instant? That's a god. How strong is he to be able to kill a god in an instant? Many people said in shock. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. The news is absolutely true. It's said that the person who killed Zhuge Long is a cultivator from the Tianwu continent. Another person said, "A cultivator from the Tianwu continent? A god from the Tianwu continent? Aren't the protectors of the martial heaven continent all in the central plains?" Some people were puzzled. It's not one of the protectors. It's a young god. He's very young. I heard that he's only in his 20s. Someone in the know said, "Who are you trying to fool? A 20-year-old god? Even if he started cultivating in his mother's womb, he wouldn't be able to reach that level, right?" Many people shook their heads. However, even though they didn't believe it, many people couldn't suppress their curiosity. Therefore, they went to the auction house to buy a crystal ball. The contents of the crystal ball were very simple. There were only a few scenes. These scenes were of Zhuge Long attacking Lin Feng and then being killed in an instant by Lin Feng. After Zhuge Long's death, the scenes stopped abruptly. It's really Zhuge Long. He's Chu Wantian's trusted subordinate. He's a god. How could he be killed in an instant? Many people cried out in shock. Look at the person who killed Zhuge Long. Why do I feel that he looks familiar? Do you have any recollection of him? Some people looked at Lin Feng and the crystal ball and couldn't help but feel puzzled. Many people looked at Lin Feng when they heard him. Why does this person look so similar to Lin Feng? Suddenly, a cultivator said, "Lin Feng? Which Lin Feng?" Someone asked doubtfully. "The leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army, Lin Feng." The cultivator said, "Didn't he perish together with Moze Tianzuan? Back then, he was indeed devoured by the space-time reversal. Logically speaking, he should have died. But who knows if this Lin Feng is so powerful that he managed to return safely? It really is Lin Feng. I was lucky enough to meet him once." Very quickly, the news that Lin Feng was still alive and had returned to the martial heaven continent quickly spread. This matter could be said to have caused a huge sensation. Back then, Lin Feng was an overlord in the sky martial continent. Exterminating the vast realm's demon Venerable and fighting Moze Tianzuan had caused the heavenly demons to suffer heavy losses. If Lin Feng hadn't been devoured by the space-time reversal, the sky martial heaven continent would have become a superpower. It was estimated that the Kingdom of Desire had already become a supergiant. The forces of Dragon Palace did not dare to have any ideas about the Kingdom of Desire. But now, Lin Feng was still alive and had returned to the martial heaven continent. This piece of news was too shocking. Heaven-seeking city. Heaven-seeking palace. At this moment, the atmosphere in the heaven-seeking palace was very heavy. The 4 commanders of the heaven-seeking legion had come to see Chu Wentian. Chu Wentian looked to be in his 30s. He was dressed in white, with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He was extraordinarily handsome. This person hadn't cultivated for a long time, only 500 years. However, he had already entered the deity realm. His current cultivation base could be described as unfathomable. Just who killed Zhuge Long? Chu Wantian's expression darkened slightly as he asked. The commander of the First Legion said, reporting to the young master, "According to the information obtained by our subordinates, the person who killed Zhuge Long is called Lin Feng. He's the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army who was swallowed by the space-time reversal 2 years ago during the battle against Mose Tianzuan. Chu Wentian narrowed his eyes and said, I've long since heard of this person's reputation. It's really surprising that he was able to come back alive after being swallowed by the space-time reversal. His life isn't ordinary. The commander of the Second Legion said, Young master, what should we do now? Do you want us to join forces and kill this person to avenge Zhugelong? Chu Wentian said, Many people are probably waiting for us to make a move so that both sides will suffer. Could it be that Zhugelong's revenge will be left unsettled? The commander of the Fourth Legion was unwilling to give up. Of course we can't. Chu Wentian's eyes flashed with cold-killing intent. He said, If this person doesn't die, how can I, Chu Wentian, put my face? However, we're not in a hurry to make a move against him. Young master, what do you mean? The four commanders looked at Chu Wentian. Lin Feng is a super genius that only appears once every 100,000 years in the Tianwu continent. However, he also has an opponent, Huangfu Qingtian. He's also a super genius that only appears once every 100,000 years. The two of them have a 10-year battle to the death. In less than a year, their 10-year battle will end. Huangfu Qingtian obtained a part of Pangu's orthodoxy, and it's said that he's about to open the Origin Secret Area. If he obtains the inheritance of the Origin Secret Area, Lin Feng will definitely die. Since Huangfu Qingtian is going to make a move, why should we be in such a hurry? Chu Wentian's eyes flashed with a sinister light. What if Huangfu Qingtian loses this battle? Asked the commander of the Fifth Legion. Chu Wentian smiled. Even if Lin Feng can defeat Huangfu Qingtian, he'll be like a lamp without oil by then. Wouldn't it be easy for us to kill him? Young master is wise. The four commanders bowed to Chu Wentian. While Lin Feng was leaving for the Eastern Sea of Desire, there were many people in the Tianwu continent. They had all seen the crystal ball that Lin Feng had used to kill Zhugelong. The Jiang family, the Heavenly God Hall, the Sacred Hall of Spiritual Array Masters, the extraterrestrial beings, the heavenly demons, and so on. The upper echelons of these large factions had all seen the scene. Naturally, some people were happy, while others were angry. In the depths of an ancient secret area, there were 33 steps floating in the sky. Crossing the 33 steps, then, one could enter the Origin Secret Area. Huangfu Qingtian had already stepped onto the 21st step of the Celestial Stairway. A mysterious cultivator in a black robe stood at the foot of the stairs. This cultivator had brought him news that Lin Feng was still alive and had returned to the Tianwu continent. It's more interesting if you're not dead. If you're dead, you'll be invincible. Very soon, I'll be able to enter the mysterious area and obtain the Yuan Shi Tianzuan's legacy. Then, I'll kill you in 10 years. Huangfu Qingtian laughed coldly. Chapter 1560. The East Sea was not peaceful during this period because two powerful figures came to the Country of Desire. The Country of Desire's power increased greatly. The Country of Desire, which had always been low-key, began to act in a high-profile manner. First, they seized a large number of territories that were originally taken by the Dragon Palace and other forces. Then, they began to seize the territories of the Dragon Palace and the other four forces. Therefore, the forces led by the Dragon Palace launched several large-scale battles with the Country of Desire. What was shocking was, these battles all ended with the Country of Desire's victory. 3 months after the battle, the Country of Desire directly broke through the mountain gates of the Sky Rock Island, Fire Island, Thousand Mountain Island, and Myriad Dao Ancient Sacred Land. The Sky Rock Island of the four forces was the most despicable. They had previously joined the Vast Domain Demon Venerable. Later, after the Vast Domain Demon Venerable was defeated, they joined Mose Tianzuan. Lin Feng and Mose Tianzuan were both swallowed by the space-time reversal. The Country of Desire was leaderless. The Dragon Palace began to suppress the Country of Desire. At this time, the Sky Rock Island changed and became an overseas cultivation holy land, as if it had nothing to do with the heavenly demons. Among the forces that attacked the Country of Desire, the Sky Rock Island was the most active. However, the Country of Desire had an emperor weapon, the Longevity Bell, So the Dragon Palace did not dare to fight to the death with the Country of Desire. Therefore, when the Country of Desire launched a counterattack, the impact on the Sky Rock Island was the greatest. Other than the Sky Rock King and a few others who escaped, the rest were either killed or captured. The other three forces, Fire Island, Thousand Mountain Island, and Myriad Dao Ancient Sacred Lands sect masters all chose to submit to the Country of Desire. The Dragon Palace activated the defensive array. They did not come out. Now, the Country of Desire controlled the entire East Sea region and part of the South Sea region. The Country of Desire's momentum shook the heavens, and countless experts came to join them. The cultivators who had left when the Country of Desire was at its lowest point saw that the Country of Desire had become stronger again and were extremely annoyed. They wanted to join the Country of Desire again, but they were rejected at the door. What puzzled everyone was that in the area ruled by the Country of Desire, they began to build a temple. And the person that the temple worshipped was Lin Feng, the power of faith. It's a technique that has been lost for a long time. Does this Lin Feng know how to absorb the power of faith? Right now, the Country of Desire was the focus of attention of countless people in the Sky Martial continent, especially those living beings from other realms. Chapter 1561. Lin Feng had come into contact with Ao Bing, the third prince of the Dragon Palace. Ao Bing was not a good person. He was a guy who was obsessed with women. Of course, this might have something to do with Ao Bing's race. Ao Bing was an evil dragon, and the evil dragon was the most lustful race among the dragon race. Now that only the Dragon Palace was left in the East Sea world, the Country of Desire could be unified. However, it was not an easy task to attack the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace had steep terrain and dense restrictions. It was easy to defend and difficult to attack. Moreover, an ancient force like the Dragon Palace must have a lot of heritage. Once they fought, if the Dragon Palace used their heritage, both sides would suffer. Lin Feng naturally knew this. However, Lin Feng was unwilling to let the Dragon Palace go just like that. He heard that the Dragon Palace had endless treasures. This aroused Lin Feng's interest. Even if he couldn't attack the Dragon Palace, at the very least, he had to make the Dragon Palace vomit blood once. Lin Feng ordered Du Zhu to gather a portion of the elite army. He planned to make a trip to the Dragon Palace tomorrow. At night, Lin Feng went out for a walk and saw Madame Qi's beautiful maid, Chun Yini, enter her room. Chun Yini was a top-grade beauty. She was tall and had a pair of long and beautiful legs that made people's imagination run wild. Lin Feng knew that Madame Qi liked women. This Chun Yini was trained by Madame Qi for his own enjoyment. Madame Qi had offered Chun Yini to him. However, he had refused. Now, Chun Yini was in Madame Qi's room. What was she doing? He shook his head. This was someone else's business, and he was not interested in interfering. Lin Feng came to the back garden. It was rare for him to be quiet and to be able to walk alone. A cool breeze blew. The fragrance of flowers filled the air. The back garden was full of all kinds of flowers. There were many types. Lin Feng had never seen them before. In the back garden, there were even some ancient trees that surprised Lin Feng. There were more than 10 ancient trees that were dazzling and radiating light in all directions. They were as bright as crystal lamps. When the branches and leaves swayed, they made a pleasant sound. That sound, it was as if a beautiful woman was playing a piece of music. There was also an ancient tree with 7 different colored petals. Those petals emitted a fragrant scent. It was refreshing. The 7 types of flowers rendered the ancient tree extremely beautiful. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh at the wonders of the Creator. There were too many incredible creatures in this world. It wasn't just the vegetation. There were also some demons, devils, beasts, extraterrestrial races, and so on. They were all very strange and unimaginable. Lin Feng saw a beautiful silhouette in front of him. She was standing in front of a cluster of flowers as if she was admiring them. Huang Linger. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. He did not expect to see Huang Linger in the back garden. Thinking back to the time when Huang Linger pretended to be Huang Shilan and had intimate contact with him, Lin Feng still felt a little awkward when he saw Huang Linger again. While Huang Linger was not looking at him, Lin Feng was just about to turn around and leave when he heard Huang Linger cough. This coughing sound didn't seem right. Lin Feng walked towards Huang Linger and asked, "What happened to your body?" Hearing Lin Feng's voice, Huang Linger's body trembled slightly. She didn't turn her head and said faintly, "This is a personal matter, so it's not convenient to tell outsiders." Lin Feng grabbed Huang Linger's wrist and said, "However, I'm not an outsider. You. Let go of me." Huang Linger struggled gently. However, she was unable to break free. Lin Feng saw Huang Linger's pale face. Origin injury. Such a serious origin injury. Lin Feng scanned Huang Linger's body with his spiritual will, and his expression suddenly changed. Lin Feng had suffered an origin injury before. He had the immortal divine body. It was a narrow escape. What about Huang Linger? Origin injury, injuring the origin of the great Tao. This was an injury second only to a Tao injury. And Huang Linger's origin injury was much more serious than Lin Feng's origin injury. This was because Lin Feng discovered that Huang Linger's origin was almost completely cracked. This meant that Huang Linger's origin injury was about to transform into a Tao injury. Now, Huang Linger's origin was injured. Even the origin Tao fruit couldn't cure it. How could this be? Lin Feng said with an ugly expression. Lin Feng understood Huang Linger's intentions. However, Lin Feng had already provoked Huang Shirlan. Therefore, he didn't want to provoke Huang Linger anymore. This was also the reason why Lin Feng had rejected Huang Linger back then. However, in the depths of Lin Feng's heart, he hoped that everything would be fine for Huang Linger. "You don't have to worry." Huang Linger broke free from Lin Feng and walked into the distance. "Linger," Lin Feng called out softly. When Huang Ling heard Lin Feng's voice, which was trembling with emotion, she was stupefied. Lin Feng didn't call out her name coldly like before. Was he pitying her? Huang Linger sighed in her heart. "I'm very sorry for what happened that night in Fallen Moon City. The next day, when I learned that you had left, I stayed alone for a long time. I thought for a long time, and there were many things in my heart that I wanted to say to you, but I didn't know how to start," Lin Feng said. Huang Linger's tears flowed out in an instant. There were many times in life, things didn't go as planned. She could hear some of the emotions in Lin Feng's words. Huang Linger wished that she had heard these words when there was nothing wrong with her body. Huang Linger knew that if she stood there, perhaps Lin Feng would walk over. She could even hug him, throw herself into his arms, and confide in him. Tell him about how she had fallen in love with him after they met in the Azure Dragon Institute. But Huang Linger didn't stop, because she knew that her body was in a terrible state. At this time, there shouldn't be any more fetters. She shouldn't stop. Perhaps she should leave silently. That was the best choice. Whether it was for herself or for Lin Feng, both were the best choices. Lin Feng stood in the same place, looking at the empty garden. Huang Linger had already left. He was alone, looking at the bright moon, lost in thought. Lin Feng left the garden and found Du Zhu, asking Du Zhu about the method to treat Huang Linger. "It's almost transformed into a Tao injury. This is difficult." Du Zhu frowned. "Is there really no other way?" Lin Feng asked. "Generally, people who can survive with such injuries are quite heaven-defying characters. But I've seen that Huang Linger. Apart from being a little beautiful, her cultivation talent is mediocre. It's difficult for her to withstand such injuries." Du Zhu rubbed his chin and said. Seeing Lin Feng's ugly expression, Du Zhu continued, "If you really want to save her, it's not completely impossible. Don't you have the immortal divine blood? When you break through to the God realm, your immortal divine blood will transform. At that time, you might be able to use your immortal divine blood to heal her injuries. Of course, the probability of this is extremely low. The success rate is estimated to be 1% at most. Of course, the precondition is that she's still alive before you break through to the God realm. If she dies before you break through to the God realm, then she won't even have that 1% chance. I don't think she'll live for more than a few days." Chapter 1562. Lin Feng was currently at the 10th level of the Rebirth Realm. After reaching this level, most cultivators would usually break through to the demigod realm and continue to consolidate their cultivation. After settling down for a period of time, they would try to break through to the divine realm. After all, the divine realm was no small matter. if he wanted to break through to the divine realm. It was not an easy task. Lin Feng's own accumulation was strong enough to break through to the divine realm. He felt that he did not need to break through to the demigod realm. Right now, Lin Feng had two things to do. One was to break through to the divine realm with his soul. The second was to transform his mana into divine power. After completing these two tasks, Lin Feng would be able to break through to the divine realm. Lin Feng cultivated the Luya star-gazing chart. Now, the speed at which his soul was improving was extremely fast. As for his mana, it would transform into divine power. He needed to continuously polish and increase the purity of his mana. Lin Feng had been using divine-level star stones to cultivate during this period of time in order to temper his own mana. He hoped that his mana would transform into divine power as soon as possible. However, this would also take some time. I have quite a few divine-level pills here. Perhaps they can temporarily suppress Ling Er's injuries. Lin Feng said. Du Zhu said, let's give it a try. Lin Feng knew that Huang Linger might not want to see him. Therefore, he went to look for Huang Shilan and talk to her about Huang Ling. She didn't want me to tell you about her body's condition, Huang Shilan said in a sad voice. What exactly happened? Why did she suffer such a serious injury to her origin? Lin Feng asked. All these years, she has been cultivating with all her might. Other than cultivation, there seems to be nothing else in her life. In the end, because she cultivated too much, she went berserk. Huang Shilan shed tears. Lin Feng was silent as he sighed in his heart. He handed the prepared pills to Huang Shilan and said, take this to Ling Er and tell her that I will definitely help her recover. Yes. Huang Shilan nodded heavily and left with the porcelain bottle containing the divine-level healing pills. On the second day, Lin Feng led Du Zhu, the star behemoth, and 10,000 elites of the Raging Flame Corps to Dragon Palace. At this time, Lin Feng's Xinyuan ancient starry sky battleship finally came in handy. Lin Feng took out the ancient starship Xinyuan sealed inside the glass bottle. The ancient ship quickly expanded, floating on the surface of the sea. Such an ancient ship was a priceless treasure. Above, one could roam the starry sky. Below, one could enter the ocean and the 9 underworlds. Get on board, Lin Feng shouted. Following that, everyone boarded the ship one after another. When Lin Feng boarded the ancient starship Xinyuan, suddenly, a voice resounded in his mind. The Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship needs a captain. When this voice came out, Lin Feng was immediately stunned. His face was filled with shock. Lin Feng had vaguely heard this voice when he first obtained the ancient starship Xinyuan. However, at that time, he didn't hear it clearly. Now, but she heard it clearly. There was indeed a voice in the ancient starship Xinyuan. However, Lin Feng didn't feel any malice from this voice. Instead, he felt a kind of excitement. Could it be a ship's spirit? Lin Feng's heart couldn't help but tremble. He had heard of some of the most top-grade ancient ships, such as the Empress God's pirate ship. They all had ship spirits. Ancient starry sky ships with ship spirits didn't even need people to operate them. If the master wanted to go somewhere, the ship spirits would be able to sense it. As long as there was a correct route, the ancient ship would personally go wherever the master wanted to go. That's right. I am now the new master of the ancient ship. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and stroked the ancient starship Xinyuan. Let's go. He pulled out his sword and gave the order. The 1,000-meter-long ancient starship, Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship, suddenly emitted a loud rumbling sound. The ship shook. It instantly tore through the void. The next moment, it appeared thousands of miles away. What the? Lin Feng knew that this ancient starship Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship was extraordinary. But now, he was also shocked. This speed was too heaven-defying, right? As expected of an ancient ship from before the immortal ancient era. Perhaps the Empress ancient ship couldn't compare to his Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship. The ancient starship Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship released an energy barrier that enveloped the entire ancient ship. Then, it directly entered the sea. Next, it jumped through the void in the sea. Each jump was thousands of miles away. Lin Feng wasn't the only one who was shocked. Everyone was dumbfounded. Who had ever seen such a fast ancient starry sky ship? Even Duzu had never seen such a fast ancient starry sky ship. It's really incredible. It seems that this ancient ship has a heaven-defying origin, Duzu said. Lin Feng nodded. 2 hours later, the ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship dived into the depths of the sea where the Dragon Palace was located. The Dragon Palace is an important place. Leave immediately. Otherwise, we'll kill you without mercy. A large number of oceanic species drove 10 ancient warships out and blocked the ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship's path. Boom, boom, boom. Without any superfluous words, the ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship directly attacked the 10 ancient warships of the Dragon Palace. The ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship's spirit stone cannons were 3 huge barrels fused together by an array formation. They rotated together and fired together. Under normal circumstances, spirit stone cannons could be fired using spirit stones as cannonballs. This way, they could cause great damage. However, the most destructive weapon was still the spirit stone cannonball that was made using a special method. The spirit stone cannonball was invented by alchemists. The main material of the spirit stone cannonball was spirit stones that were then fused with dozens or even hundreds of other materials. Of course, the power contained in these spirit stone cannonballs was different. The higher the grade of the material, the more materials were fused. The more powerful the cannonball was, the more powerful it would be. Once this cannonball was fired, it could cause a destructive attack. The deciding factor of the cannonball's power was not only the cannonball itself, but also the spirit stone cannonball. The material and structure of the spirit stone cannonball. The dense array formations on the spirit stone cannonball often determine the grade of the spirit stone cannonball. The higher the grade of the spirit stone cannonball, the more powerful the cannonball would be. After returning to the country of desire, Lin Feng found a lot of spirit stone cannonballs in the treasury of the country of desire. Lin Feng had already taken away these spirit stone cannonballs, but now they finally came in handy. A dense cannonball was fired towards the 10 ancient warships of the Dragon Palace, courting death, fire. The cultivators of the Dragon Palace on the ancient warships of the Dragon Palace roared. Immediately after, the 10 ancient warships of the Dragon Palace also started firing cannonballs. However, the spirit stone cannons of the ordinary ancient warships of the Dragon Palace were too low grade. Even if they fired the same cannonball, the destructive power couldn't compare to the cannonball fired by the spirit stone cannons of the ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship. There were many reasons why the spirit stone cannons of the ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship were so powerful. Firstly, the spirit stone cannons of the ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship were of a high grade. Secondly, the spirit stone cannons of the ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship could fire continuously. At most, it could fire 10 cannonballs in a row. One had to know that an ordinary ancient starship would need to reignite its cannonball after firing once. Only then could it fire a second cannonball, which would take a lot of time. However, the spirit stone cannons of the ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship could load 10 cannonballs at a time. Once ignited, it could fire continuously. In a large-scale war, time was the guarantee of victory. Therefore, the ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship was most suitable for large-scale battles. At this time, its advantage was obvious. Therefore, the ancient starship Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship ignited its cannonball once. Then, waves of spirit stone cannonballs flew out. In an instant, the cannonballs fired by the 10 ancient warships of the Dragon Palace were destroyed. Then, the 10 ancient warships of the Dragon Palace weren't spared. After being hit by the cannonballs, the 10 ancient warships started to explode. Miserable screams resounded. Many cultivators of the Dragon Palace wanted to abandon the ship and run for their lives. However, before they could jump off the ship, the power of the cannonballs blew them into pieces. Chapter 1563. The Xianyuan ancient starship is so powerful. Lin Feng was overjoyed when he saw how powerful the Xianyuan ancient starship was. It had destroyed an enemy fleet in the blink of an eye. What a powerful ancient starship! With just one, he would be able to travel unimpeded in the starry sky world. The Xinyuan ancient starship continued heading deeper into the sea. Not long after, the Xinyuan ancient starship arrived at the depths of the sea. From afar, one could see the endless palaces. However, there were restrictions protecting the palaces. "Young master, we've arrived at the Dragon Palace," the rock golem said. Lin Feng nodded. He stood on the deck and looked at the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace. As expected of a holy land for cultivation, draconic chi filled the air. Purple clouds spewed out. It was as though he had arrived at a legendary paradise. Dong, dong, dong. At this moment, war drums sounded. The oceanic species soldiers gathered in the Dragon Palace. A total of 300,000 soldiers were gathered in the plaza. They rode on 30 ancient warships and charged toward the Dragon Palace. The leader was Dragon King Aolai. "Lin Feng, you trespassed on my Dragon Palace, destroyed 10 of my ancient warships, and killed my oceanic species cultivators. Are you trying to start a war with my Dragon Palace?" Aolai looked at Lin Feng gloomily. Aolai looked like he was in his 40s, but he had cultivated for 270,000 years. He was currently at the 7th firmament of the Void God realm. He was at the prime of his life. However, Aolai was cunning and good at scheming. Therefore, Lin Feng did not have a good impression of Aolai. He sneered. "So what if we start a war? If the East Sea is only left with your East Sea Dragon Palace, it is not under the control of my Kingdom of Desire. How can I allow others to sleep here? Once I destroy your Dragon Palace, the East Sea will be unified." Aolai said, "It won't be that easy to destroy my Dragon Palace. My Dragon Palace has enough resources to deal with you. In the end, both sides will suffer. Have you thought this through?" Lin Feng laughed heartily. "So what if both sides suffer? I can recruit an endless stream of soldiers, but your Dragon Palace is besieged by my Country of Desire's army. Without any reinforcements, it will only be a matter of time before your Dragon Palace is breached." Aolai said coldly, "It won't be a problem to hold on for a few hundred years. At most, we'll just have to wait. Maybe your Country of Desire won't be able to hold on first. Who knows what will happen next? Right now, the Country of Desire is at its peak, but in a few years, it might decline. I've seen too many forces like this." Lin Feng curled his lips and said, "My Nation of Desire will be immortal, so you don't have to worry about the survival of my Nation of Desire, Dragon King. As for you, Aolai, you overestimate your Eastern Sea Dragon Palace. Now, there are cultivators from the 9 prefectures, extraterrestrial beings, and even heavenly devils coming to the Martial Heaven continent. I think that many of those people are interested in the treasures of your Eastern Sea Dragon Palace, right? I wonder if I can cooperate with them? If those people join us, how many more years will the East Sea Dragon Palace last?" "You." Aolai's expression flickered. He said, "Lin Feng, back then, to fight against the heavenly devils, you almost lost your life in the space-time reversal. Now, you want to cooperate with the heavenly devils, extraterrestrial beings, and even the 9 prefectures cultivators to deal with the Dragon Palace? How is your collusion with outsiders to oppress the Martial Heaven continent's native powers any different from those traitors?" Lin Feng indifferently said, "The extraterrestrial beings and the 9 prefectures cultivators aren't just trying to invade the Martial Heaven continent. There are also people who want to help the Martial Heaven continent. There are also many neutral people. I'm looking for such people. Since I'm not cooperating with cultivators who want to invade the Martial Heaven continent, why would I betray the Martial Heaven continent?" Aolai's expression flickered. He said, "Lin Feng, the enmity between us isn't an irreconcilable hatred. All of our enmity stems from the struggle for benefits. In this world, there are no eternal enemies, and there are no eternal friends. How about this? Let's both take a step back, sit down, and negotiate calmly. You don't want to see the Eastern Sea, which has just regained its peace, turn into a bloodbath again because of our battle to the death, right? The Eastern Sea Dragon Palace had an imperial weapon, so it wouldn't be so easy to attack. If they really started fighting, it would be just as Aolai had said. Blood would flow like rivers, and countless people would die. That wasn't something Lin Feng wanted to see. Lin Feng's original goal had been to extort the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace and plunder their resources. Since Aolai had brought this up, Lin Feng went with the flow. He said, "It's not impossible to negotiate, but it depends on whether the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace is sincere." Aolai sighed in relief when he heard that there was room for negotiation. He smiled and said, "Our East Sea Dragon Palace is naturally sincere. Why don't we move to the East Sea Dragon Palace and discuss the details?" said Lin Feng. "Then open the deployment spell and let my boat in," said Lin Feng. Aolai smiled insincerely and said, "It's just a negotiation. There's no need for so many people, right?" Lin Feng chuckled and said, "It seems like the Dragon King isn't sincere." The Dragon King's expression flickered. In the end, he gritted his teeth and said, "Of course I'm sincere. I also believe in Lin Gongzi's reputation." He waved his hand. Immediately, dozens of array masters from the Dragon Palace activated the array. The ancient ship, Xianyuan, entered the array and stopped at the plaza. Lin Feng ordered the astral beast to guard Xianyuan. Then, he entered the palace with Du Zhu. Inside the palace, beautiful oceanic race women shuttled back and forth. All of them wore revealing clothes and were filled with temptation. Aolai smiled and said, "Lin Gongzi hasn't enjoyed the beauties of the oceanic race yet, right? I'll give Lin Gongzi 100 beauties, and they'll be Lin Gongzi's maids. What do you think?" In the world of cultivators, it was common to see people giving each other women. However, Lin Feng wasn't interested in this. He calmly said, "There's no need for that. Let's start the negotiation. I don't ask for much. I just want a third of the treasures in the Dragon Palace's treasury." "Are you dreaming?" The third prince, Ao Bing, shouted. "Who do you think you are? How dare you shout in front of me? Dragon King, is this how you educate your son? He has no respect for his elders and doesn't know the rules at all." Lin Feng's expression suddenly sank. Ao Bing was furious. Back then, he had sent people to kill Lin Feng. In just a few years, Lin Feng had become the high and mighty leader of the East Seas cultivator army. Ao Bing was extremely envious. Lai glared at Ao Bing and said, "Hurry up and apologize to Lin Gongzi." "Father." Ao Bing gritted his teeth and told him to apologize to Lin Feng. He really couldn't do it. "Slap him." Lai's expression suddenly sank, and he couldn't help but shout coldly. Immediately, a guard from the Dragon Palace came in front of Ao Bing and slapped him. Ao Bing was stunned by the slap. "Father, you asked someone to slap me?" Ao Bing looked at the Dragon King in disbelief. His father, who doted on him the most, had actually sent someone to slap him. Ao Bing couldn't accept this. "Take him away." Lai waved his hand, and a few guards immediately took Ao Bing away. Chapter 1564. Ao Bing, that idiot. It's one thing for you to abuse your power in the Dragon Palace because of your father's favor. Why don't you take a look at the situation now? How dare you cause such trouble? Serves you right. The other princes looked at each other and saw gloating expressions in each other's eyes. The third prince, Ao Bing, was arrogant because of his father's favor. Ao Bing looked down on even his own brothers. Ao Bing had snatched the first prince's beloved concubine. He had also humiliated the second prince. He had flirted with the fourth prince's wife. But so what? Ao Bing was favored. The other princes could only swallow their anger when they were bullied. Perhaps it was because Ao Bing was usually too high and mighty and looked down on everyone. Therefore, he developed an arrogant personality. To put it bluntly, he did not care about the severity. How could Ao Bing interrupt the negotiation between Lin Feng and Aolai? Of course, Ao Bing did the most wrong thing. It was not to interfere in this negotiation. Instead, he did not give Aolai any face in front of Lin Feng. Aolai asked Ao Bing to apologize to Lin Feng. If Ao Bing apologized, this matter would be over. However, Ao Bing was used to being arrogant. Therefore, he did not listen to Aolai. Wasn't this a slap to Aolai's face? He couldn't even discipline his own son. How could Aolai not be angry? This was also the reason why the other princes were gloating. After this matter, Ao Bing's status would definitely plummet. This was something that could be predicted. After Ao Bing was pulled away, Aolai said in a deep voice. Lin Gongzi's request is too much. He wants to take 1/3 of the treasures of the Dragon Palace. How can it be so easy in this world? Lin Feng knocked on the table and said with a faint smile, the Dragon King might have made a mistake. I am not discussing with the Dragon King. I am ordering you to let the Nation of Desire take 1/3 of the treasures of the Dragon Palace. You are going too far. Aolai's expression was gloomy. Lin Feng smiled and said, Dragon King, I think this deal is actually quite good because this treasure can ensure that your Dragon Palace can survive in the East Sea in the future. To put it bluntly, with my ability, it will be easy for me to become an ancestor or a saint in the future. At that time, you will feel lucky that you took out 1/3 of the treasure vault's treasures in exchange for future peace. I will only give you one chance. Dragon King, you think about it. It seems like the Dragon King is a straightforward person. Poison Ancestor, send some people to follow the people of the Dragon Palace and collect the treasures in the treasury. In the hall, dozens of beautiful sea race dancers were dancing. After the negotiations were completed, Aolai put on a smiling face. His previous unhappiness had disappeared. He even drank and chatted with Lin Feng. Aolai smiled as he said, Sir Lin, I heard that you're not married yet. I have 7 daughters, and they're all as beautiful as flowers. Sir Lin, take a look and see if you like any of them. If you marry them, we'll be able to do great things together. Aolai clapped his hands, and the 7 women walked out. They were the 7 princesses of the Dragon Palace. They were tall and beautiful. The 7 princesses looked at Lin Feng curiously. They were different from the women of the human race. The 7 princesses were looking at Lin Feng in a passionate and bold way. They didn't try to hide anything from Lin Feng. They were also curious. Who was the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army? He was able to force their father to lower his head. Now that they saw Lin Feng, they saw that he was so young and handsome. Their hearts rippled. Young Master. The 7 young masters bowed to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded and looked at the Dragon King. He smiled and said, I appreciate the Dragon King's good intentions, but it's a critical time for me to cultivate. In addition, I have a 10-year battle with Huangfu Qingtian. I don't have much time for romance. Haha, young master, you're right. Aolai waved the 7 princesses away. After taking 1/3 of the treasures, Lin Feng planned to leave. Aolai personally sent Lin Feng off. Suddenly, there was a fluctuation in the depths of the Dragon Palace. The fluctuation disappeared in a flash. However, Lin Feng still noticed it. He raised his eyebrows and said, What kind of fluctuation is that? Aolai said, It's the dragon burial abyss deep in the Dragon Palace. Even the people of the Dragon Palace don't enter that place. Why? Lin Feng asked curiously. Rumor has it that a true dragon died there. It's very dangerous there, and there's only a slim chance of survival. In the past, some ancestors of the Dragon Palace went there to explore, but in the end, no one came out. Aolai said. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. A true dragon had died there? That was no small matter. Was there anything precious left behind? He said calmly, I want to go in and explore. Will the Dragon King allow me to? When Aolai heard Lin Feng's words, he was overjoyed. He thought to himself, You're just courting death. It's best if you die in there. Once you die, the East Sea Cultivator Army will once again be leaderless and will inevitably split into 4 or 5 groups. At that time, I will take back all the treasures you took from the East Sea, and I will even take the territory of your country of desire. When he thought of this, Aolai almost laughed out loud. Although he couldn't wait for Lin Feng to enter the Dragon Burial Abyss, Aolai pretended to be concerned about Lin Feng. Chapter 1565. Lin Feng's words made Aolai happy. No matter what, I have to go down and take a look. You guys just wait for me here. Du Zhu and the giant star beast understood Lin Feng's personality. They knew that once Lin Feng made a decision, it would be difficult for others to change his mind. Then Lin Gongzi must be careful, Aolai said with a fake smile. Lin Feng nodded and said, Thank you for your concern, Dragon King. I will come out in one piece. Haha. Lin Gongzi is a good person. I believe that Lin Gongzi will also come out in one piece. Aoli said with a smile. As for how many of these words were sincere, it was hard to tell. Lin Feng did not delay and directly flew into the dragon burial abyss. As he dived, the temperature in the dragon burial abyss was getting lower and lower. This dragon burial abyss was very strange. Lin Feng felt a gloomy aura enveloping his body. This gloomy aura was actually trying to enter his body. Ordinary cultivators would not be able to withstand this gloomy aura, and their bodies would be frozen. Then they would fall into the abyss and die. Lin Feng did not dare to hesitate. He used the heavenly fire in his body to block the gloomy aura that was trying to invade his body. Ordinary gloomy aura would not be able to hurt Lin Feng. Lin Feng continued to dive, and when he reached a depth of 3,000 to 4,000 meters, the air began to be filled with a highly toxic gas. As he went deeper, the poison became more and more intense. This poison also contained an ancient and evil power. This power was emitted from an unknown source. It was very strange. Lin Feng used the great poison technique to block the invasion of the poison, but he found that the evil power seemed to be trying to invade his body. Lin Feng used the heavenly fire to refine the evil power that invaded his body. He continued to dive into the abyss. Finally, they reached the bottom of the abyss. At the bottom of the abyss, Lin Feng saw some skeletons scattered around. There were big and small skeletons, and there were even complete dragon skeletons. They were probably the ancestors of the dragon palace who entered and eventually perished. The area of the abyss at the bottom was very large. Lin Feng walked all the way to the depths. Puff! Suddenly, Lin Feng suffered a calamity. His right chest had been pierced by an invisible force. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. This place was indeed very strange. He quickly summoned the death armor to protect his body. After a short time, Lin Feng sensed the invisible and intangible strength attack him again. However, this time, the death armor blocked the attack. A clang sound was heard. Lin Feng took in a deep breath. Thankfully, he had the protection of the death armor. Otherwise, it would have been dangerous for him to enter the dragon burial abyss. Lin Feng operated his immortal divine body to heal his injuries. After he recovered, he continued to walk deeper into the abyss. The invisible force attacked Lin Feng again. After 4 or 5 attacks, it could not hurt Lin Feng. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. As he walked deeper into the dragon burial abyss, he observed the abyss. In front of him, there was a huge skeleton that was about 3,000 meters long. It was the skeleton of a huge dragon. Lin Feng had seen dragon skeletons in the outer region of the dragon burial abyss. However, they were at most 1,000 meters long. Obviously, they could not be compared to this dragon skeleton. The dragon skeleton in front of him was so huge. He wondered how strong it was when it was alive. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Such a strong dragon had fallen here. What happened here in the past? Was it the same invisible force that had pierced through his body and ultimately led to his death? Or perhaps there were other reasons? Suddenly, a scorching flame flew out from behind the dragon's skeleton. The ball of hot flames floated in the air and condensed into a blood-red eye that looked coldly at him. What's that? Lin Feng was shocked. After the flame appeared, Lin Feng felt the heavenly fire shake violently. Obviously, the flame was very strong. However, it was not a heavenly fire. It's a demonic fire. Lin Feng was shocked. There was such a strong demonic fire. What kind of demonic fire was it? Did the fall of the dragon have anything to do with this demonic fire? This was the abyss where a real dragon was buried. Could it be that ball of flame? Was it the true dragon demonic fire? The true dragon demonic flame was one of the most powerful demonic flames among the countless types of demonic flames. It was one of the top 10 super demonic fires. My clone is about to break through to the divine fire realm. It just so happens that it is lacking a powerful fire. I can't believe I can find the true dragon demonic fire here. Lin Feng looked at the dragon fire and narrowed his eyes. His eyes were filled with excitement. If he could subdue the true dragon demonic fire, then his clone would be able to complete the breakthrough. Human, you have a heavenly fire. The true dragon demonic fire said in a deep and cold voice. Huh, it has a fire spirit? Lin Feng was shocked. It seemed that the true dragon demonic fire in front of him was very terrifying. Otherwise, it would not have been able to give birth to a fire spirit. Since you know that I have a heavenly fire, you should submit to me, said Lin Feng. Ha 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 ha, you want me to submit to you? How laughable. I'll eat your soul and take your heavenly flames. As long as I can take your heavenly flames, I'll evolve and refine 3 types of heavenly flames. I'll become the most perfect flame creature. In the future, I'll become an ancestor and a saint, and I'll rule the heavens. The true dragon demonic fire said in a sinister voice. Said Lin Feng, dreams are beautiful, but reality is cruel. Heavenly fire can suppress all other flames. No matter how strong the true dragon demonic fire is, it is still a demonic fire restrained by heavenly fire. What do you have to fight me? When Lin Feng finished talking, he waved his hand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, flames surged out. Purple earthcore fire, black sunfire, golden dragon divine flame. Lin Feng summoned 3 heavenly fires. They pounced on the true dragon demonic fire at the same time. Then, the raging heavenly fire engulfed the true dragon demonic fire. True dragon demonic eye, impenetrable by all flames. Suddenly, a sinister voice came from the true dragon demonic fire. The pair of cold eyes could be seen. They emitted a cold and bloodthirsty energy. A blood-red light. It spread out in all directions. A terrifying scene appeared. The 3 types of heavenly flames were all blocked. When Lin Feng saw that, he was astonished. This was something he had not expected at all. A mere demonic flame could actually resist his 3 heavenly flames. This was simply something out of a fantasy. But now, it was happening right in front of him. The true dragon demonic fire laughed strangely. You want to know? Go ask the king of hell. Swoosh. The blood-red eye in the true dragon demonic fire blinked. A blood-red light emerged and moved straight towards Lin Feng. Chapter 1566. This true dragon demonic eye was strange and unpredictable. Lin Feng's heart started pounding when he saw that attack. He did not dare to hesitate and took out the 9 demons painting. The 9 demons painting shook. It was as if the world was about to collapse. Clang. The true dragon demonic eye's attack was blocked by Lin Feng's 9 demons painting. Then, under Lin Feng's attack, the 9 demons painting quickly rushed forward. It directly suppressed the true dragon demonic flame. An emperor weapon. I really didn't expect that not only do you have 3 types of heavenly flames, but you also have an emperor weapon. Ha 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 ha. After killing you, this emperor weapon will belong to me. The true dragon demonic flame roared excitedly. It seemed to be sure that it could defeat Lin Feng. Swish, swish, swish. Beams of light shot out from the true dragon demonic eye one after another. They kept sweeping towards the 9 demons painting. Even the 9 demons painting was shaken and could not move forward. Swish. There was a flash of light. The true dragon demonic eye. It disappeared without a trace. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. He scanned his surroundings with his divine sense, but he could not find where the true dragon demonic eye was hiding. Hee 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 hee. Suddenly, a burst of sinister laughter sounded in Lin Feng's mind. The true dragon demonic flame appeared in Lin Feng's mind. The true dragon demonic flame laughed and said, Kid, do you know what my most powerful technique is? Let me tell you, it's an attack on the soul. The dragon corpse you saw was far more powerful than me back then, but in the end, it still died in a battle of magical powers with me. Do you know why that is? It's because I destroyed its soul. Lin Feng's expression darkened slightly. You don't have a physical body, so you mainly cultivate the soul. That's right, I mainly cultivate the soul, so I can cause great damage to other people's souls. You are no exception. Your soul will be destroyed by me, shouted the real dragon fire. It was flying in Lin Feng's brain. Don't hide. Hurry up and come out. I'll destroy you, and then I'll swallow you. The true dragon demonic flame was obviously talking to Lin Feng's soul. He was searching for Lin Feng's soul. Ha 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 ha. Demonic dragon fire. If it were someone else, they wouldn't have been able to escape. But today, your opponent is me. You're doomed to be killed by me. Your soul strength will be absorbed by me, and your fire source will become my nourishment." Lin Feng let out a long cry. The primal chaos ancient lamp flew out from Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng's soul was inside the primal chaos ancient lamp. Now, the primal chaos ancient lamp had evolved into a divine artifact. Moreover, it had fused with the mysterious yellow ancestral qi, a perfected great Tao. It was extremely powerful. This was one of the things Lin Feng relied on to deal with the true dragon demonic flame. Furthermore, Lin Feng also cultivated Lu Ye's stargazing chart. This was a soul-refining secret technique created by one of the four giants of the Grand Mist world, Taoist Lu Ye. In this world, it would be difficult to find a soul secret technique that could match it. Although Lin Feng's soul was far from being comparable to the true dragon demonic flame. But Lin Feng had the advantage of magic treasures and soul secret techniques. Magic treasures made from primal chaos ancestral qi and mysterious yellow ancestral qi? Boy, you're really shocking me more and more. These treasures are destined to be mine. The true dragon demonic flame laughed sinisterly, its voice filled with endless greed. The pair of demonic eyes shot out beam after beam of light at the primal chaos ancient lamp. The reason why the true dragon demonic flame was powerful was because it had condensed a pair of blood-red true dragon demonic eyes. The attacks from these eyes were extremely harmful to the soul. As the saying goes, everything has its weakness. It was precisely because of these two true dragon demonic eyes that it was terrifying. Only the true dragon demonic flame could kill experts who were far stronger than it. The true dragon demonic flame wanted to do the same thing and kill Lin Feng by destroying Lin Feng's soul. But what it needed to do now was to destroy Lin Feng's primal chaos ancient lamp. Because Lin Feng's soul was in the primal chaos ancient lamp. If it couldn't destroy the primal chaos ancient lamp, it naturally couldn't talk about destroying Lin Feng's soul. Clang, clang, clang. The attacks of the true dragon demonic eyes landed on the primal chaos ancient lamp. A series of violent collisions rang out. What surprised Lin Feng was that the primal chaos ancient lamp actually began to crack bit by bit. What a terrifying true dragon demonic eye. Lin Feng took a deep breath. At this moment, he didn't dare to waste any time. The primal chaos ancient lamp quickly flew towards the true dragon demonic eye and floated above it. Lin Feng's main and auxiliary primordial spirits sat cross-legged inside the primal chaos ancient lamp and began to work together to activate Lu Ye's stargazing chart. Buzz. A huge stargazing chart was formed. Lu Ye's stargazing chart was one of the top soul cultivation techniques. Naturally, it was all-encompassing. Not only did it record the methods to cultivate the soul, but it also recorded soul attack techniques. This stargazing chart was called the Myriad Manifestations chart. It revealed the myriad manifestations of the heavens. Once activated, its power was limitless. Now that Lin Feng had activated this Myriad Manifestations chart, the power of the myriad appearances painting was immediately displayed. In the void, it spun one round. Then, it suppressed the true dragon demonic fire. "Break for me." The true dragon demonic fire shouted coldly. The true dragon demonic fire shot out billions of blood-red rays towards the myriad manifestations chart. However, the attack of the true dragon demonic eye was unable to break the myriad manifestations chart. The primal chaos ancient lamp slammed into the true dragon demonic fire and sent it flying. Then, the myriad manifestations chart also attacked the true dragon demonic fire. "Heavenly fire return," Lin Feng shouted coldly. He controlled the three heavenly fires to fly into his mind, together with the myriad manifestations chart. The primal chaos ancient lamp attacked the true dragon demonic fire together. This time, the true dragon demonic fire was attacked from both sides and was quickly suppressed. "Boy, you have so many tricks up your sleeve." The true dragon demonic fire roared and attacked left and right. It wanted to rush out of Lin Feng's mind. "You have no chance. Die," Lin Feng sneered. Three heavenly fires. The myriad manifestations chart. The primal chaos ancient lamp. At the same time, it exploded with the most powerful combat power. It launched a storm-like attack on the true dragon demonic fire. In the end, the true dragon demonic fire could not resist. Its soul directly exploded. Only the purest soul origin was left, the fire origin, and an extremely demonic true dragon demonic eye. Ha 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 ha, the true dragon demonic fire is dead. Divine state clone, come out and devour the true dragon demonic fire. Lin Feng shouted and summoned the divine state clone. At this time, the true dragon demonic fire flew out of Lin Feng's mind and floated above the divine state clone. Above the divine state clone's head, the essence was like a vast ocean, burning fiercely. The true dragon demonic fire ignited the burning essence. The moment the essence was ignited, the true dragon demonic fire merged perfectly with the divine state clone. With the essence as the source, the divine fire was ignited. The divine state clone had finally entered the divine state. Chapter 1567. Lin Feng was very happy that his God state clone had successfully broken through to the divine fire realm. The more powerful the God state clone was, it meant that Lin Feng was more powerful, because Lin Feng could use the power of his God state clone anytime and anywhere. He kept his God state clone. Lin Feng began to devour the true dragon devil fire soul origin. The true dragon devil fire soul origin was a great tonic. It was very beneficial for Lin Feng's soul to improve. As the true dragon devil fire soul origin was devoured by Lin Feng began to use Lu Yu's stargazing chart to refine the soul origin. As the true dragon devil fire soul origin was refined, Lin Feng's soul power rose steadily. His soul level rose rapidly. It didn't take long for him to break through to the demigod realm. After accumulating for a while, he broke through to the virtual god realm. He finally stopped at the third sky of the virtual god realm. My soul origin has finally broken through to the god state. Lin Feng opened his eyes with a surprised expression on his face. The soul breakthrough was the first step for Lin Feng to enter the god state. Next, as long as his magic power completed the transformation, he could break through to the god state. With Lin Feng's terrifying accumulation, once he broke through to the god state, it would be earth-shattering. He would be able to defeat his peers. He would be invincible. And this true dragon devil eye. Lin Feng looked at the blood-red eye floating in the air. The true dragon devil eye was very powerful. Lin Feng had a deep understanding of it. So when he saw the true dragon devil eye, he had the intention to refine it. I wonder if my second primordial spirit can refine the true dragon devil eye? Lin Feng couldn't help but think to himself. His divine will moved. The second primordial spirit flew out. The second primordial spirit emitted waves of soul power and wrapped around the true dragon devil eye. The true dragon devil eye flew toward the second primordial spirit. Gradually, the true dragon devil eye began to merge into the forehead of Lin Feng's second primordial spirit. It took about 2 hours. The true dragon devil eye completely merged with the second primordial spirit. Whoosh! As the true dragon opened its demonic eyes, beams of terrifying light shot out. The void was directly pierced through. Ha ha, the demonic eye of the true dragon has also been refined. That's a powerful weapon. Not only can it injure the body, but it can also injure the soul. It can be used as a hidden trump card to catch the enemy off guard. Lin Feng immediately smiled. His gaze then turned towards the depths of the dragon burial abyss, where he could faintly make out a gigantic ancient tomb. An icy aura was emitted from the ancient tomb. Tomb of a true dragon? Lin Feng was puzzled. He carefully walked deeper into the tomb and finally arrived 100 meters away from it. Tomb of the 9th True Dragon Emperor. Lin Feng saw the ancient characters on the stone tablet beside the tomb. There were very few true dragons in the world. It was rumored that since the beginning of the world, the number of true dragons could be counted on one hand. Every time a true dragon was born, the true dragons would reign supreme in the dragon realm. They would become the masters of the dragon realm and rule over the dragon realm. Therefore, the true dragon clan. They were also the noblest and most powerful clan of the dragon clan. The true dragon buried in the dragon burial abyss had a great origin. It was actually the 9th True Dragon Emperor. No one knew what era he was from. However, one could imagine that he must have been a terrifying existence in the past. It was just that no one knew why he died here. Logically speaking, after the Great War, there were no more immortals in the world. The true Dragon Emperor's cultivation was stronger than many great emperors. It was almost impossible to kill the true Dragon Emperor. That was why the true Dragon Great Emperor's death was so suspicious. However, the world was full of countless secrets. It was full of all kinds of unknowns. Therefore, even though there were many doubts in his heart, Lin Feng knew that these secrets were definitely not something he could explore. Perhaps the truth had already been buried by the long river of history. He tried to approach the true dragon tomb, but at this time, Lin Feng felt a cold, murderous intent emanating from the true dragon tomb, the place where the true dragon emperor slept. It was not to be disturbed. Lin Feng's facial expression suddenly changed. That she was too terrifying, it made him shiver. It seems that I can only choose to retreat. My cultivation is not enough. If I forcefully approach the true Dragon Emperor's tomb, I'm afraid I'll be killed. Lin Feng frowned slightly. Just as he was about to leave, his gaze was suddenly attracted by an iron plate. The iron plate had fallen beside the tomb. Lin Feng could vaguely see the image of a true dragon drawn on it. What is that iron plate? After so many years, it hasn't rusted. It's not simple. Could it be a piece of immortal iron? And there's a true dragon drawn on it. Maybe it's related to the true Dragon Emperor. Lin Feng couldn't help but think. Looking at the iron plate in the distance, Lin Feng frowned. He was considering whether to take the risk and take the iron plate. After a moment of hesitation, Lin Feng made up his mind. He was going to take the risk and see if he could take the iron plate. It was obvious that the iron plate was extremely extraordinary. Perhaps it was hiding some shocking secrets. Therefore, it was still worth taking the risk. Lin Feng took a deep breath and walked step by step towards the true dragon tomb. As he approached the true dragon tomb, a terrifying, oppressive energy filled the atmosphere and moved towards Lin Feng to envelop him. Crack, crack. A terrifying thing happened. After the pressure pressed down on Lin Feng's body actually began to crack. Blood immediately flowed out. Lin Feng's expression became serious. He activated the immortal divine body to heal his injuries. At the same time, he continued to walk deeper into the tomb. As he approached the true dragon tomb, the pressure Lin Feng endured increased. Lin Feng's physical body kept breaking apart. Lin Feng didn't even have time to heal his injuries before his physical body left again. At this time, leaving was the best choice. But Lin Feng was unwilling to leave like this, because he was only 15 or 16 meters away from the iron plate. If he left now, he would be unwilling. Lin Feng gnashed his teeth and used his teleportation skill. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of the talisman and grabbed it. Bang! At the same time, half of Lin Feng's body exploded, dripping with blood. He was seriously injured. Lin Feng felt that the remaining half of his body was about to explode. He felt a strong aura of death. But fortunately, Lin Feng's reaction was fast enough. He stomped on the ground and quickly retreated. Lin Feng retreated 100 meters away and finally got rid of the terrifying pressure of the true dragon tomb. Only then was he lucky enough to keep his life. He hurriedly activated the immortal divine body and healed his body. However, his injuries were too serious. After recovering, he felt a little weak. He needed to rest for a few days before he could fully recover. Lin Feng put away the iron plate and did not dare to hesitate. He quickly rushed out of the dragon burial abyss. Chapter 1568. The young master has been down there for so long. Why hasn't he come out yet? The astral beast frowned slightly. Du Zhu's expression was gloomy as he said, "Nothing happened, right? Should we go down and take a look?" Dragon King Aolai was overjoyed. "Hurry up and go down. It's best if the two of you go down together. Then we'll both die in there." Aolai prayed. The astral beast nodded and said, "All right, let's go down and take a look. I hope nothing happened to the young master." Seeing that Du Zhu and the astral beast were about to go down, Aolai was overjoyed. This caused Aolai to be overjoyed, and he almost danced with joy. "I'm fine. Don't worry." But at that moment, Lin Feng flew out of the dragon burial abyss. He then landed in front of everyone. Seeing that Lin Feng had come out alive, Aolai was furious. Aolai's expression was gloomy. His expression became gloomy as well. He put on a fake smile and said, Lin Gongzi, you must have obtained a lot of good things in the Dragon Burial Abyss, right? Lin Feng smiled and said, Yes, I have to thank the Dragon King for allowing me to go down. There are many treasures in the Dragon Burial Abyss, especially in the tomb of the true dragon. Lin Feng didn't say anything else. He revealed a bit of information to Ao Lai. As for whether Ao Lai would send people down, it was none of his business. However, if Ao Lai really did send people down, those people would probably be poisoned to death before they even reached the depths of the Dragon Burial Abyss. The tomb of the true dragon? Is the rumor true? A true dragon is buried here? Ao Lai looked at Lin Feng excitedly. The rumor of the Dragon Burial Abyss had been passed down for a long time. However, Ao Lai wasn't sure if the rumor was true because all the experts from the Dragon Palace who had gone to explore the Dragon Burial Abyss had died inside. Lin Feng was the first person who had come out of the Dragon Burial Abyss alive. However, no matter how much Ao Lai asked, Lin Feng didn't say anything else. This made Ao Lai feel extremely depressed. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the astral beast returned to the ancient ship. The ancient ship started moving and flew out. Poison Ancestor said, It can't really be a true dragon's tomb, right? Or did the young master trick Ao Lai? Lin Feng replied, There really is a true dragon tomb. Ao's tomb's a true dragon, but how can its treasures be obtained so easily? Ao Lai isn't a good person. It would be best if he sent people into the Dragon Burial Abyss. That way, the Dragon Palace would lose a group of experts, and the threat to the Kingdom of Desire would be reduced. Lin Feng nodded. It's best if Ao Lai goes down alone. If he dies, the Dragon Palace will be like a dragon without a leader. Then, some people will want to become the Dragon King, and they'll want to become my subordinates. The ancient starship Xinyuan soon left the deep sea. Why is this happening? The true Dragon Emperor roared in rage as he fought with the unknown being. He was questioning the mysterious being, but Lin Feng didn't know. What was the true Dragon Emperor questioning? The unknown being did not answer the true Dragon Emperor's question. Within the black fog, a terrifying killing light slashed down. Poof! Even someone as strong as the true Dragon Emperor couldn't block it, and his body was torn apart. The true Dragon Emperor was almost sliced in half. Looking at this, Lin Feng could not help but take in a breath of cold air. This was way too scary, wasn't it? Even someone as strong as the true Dragon Emperor had almost been sliced in half. It was hard to imagine what level the unknown being in the black fog was at. So it's all a scam that's been going on for ages. How many cultivators have been deceived? How many of them have fought for their entire lives? The true Dragon Emperor roared, and dragon blood splattered everywhere. The sky turned blood red. The unknown being did not speak at all. The terrifying being launched an even more powerful attack at the true Dragon Emperor, wanting to kill him once and for all. 6 paths of reincarnation. The true Dragon Emperor roared, using the 6 paths of reincarnation, a peerless technique. He blocked the unknown being's attack, and the dying true Dragon Emperor took the opportunity to escape. Chapter 1569. Kikik. Sinister laughter came from the black mist. It was so terrifying that Lin Feng felt his hair stand on end. What is it? Lin Feng muttered to himself. That unknown creature was simply too powerful. It was so powerful that Lin Feng found it hard to believe. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be such a powerful being. After the fall of the Xiantian life form, shouldn't the true Dragon Emperor be the strongest being in the world? Yet, a being that could kill the true Dragon Emperor had appeared. It seemed that there were still many secrets hidden in the world, and these secrets were unknown to the cultivators billions of years in the future. They were destined to be difficult to explore. Whoosh! There was a flash of light. Lin Feng disappeared from his original position. The next moment, he appeared in another place. Lin Feng found this place to be very familiar. He looked around carefully. Wasn't this the Dragon Burial Abyss? Now, a huge tomb appeared in the depths of the Dragon Burial Abyss. It was the tomb where the true Dragon Emperor was buried. The true Dragon Emperor has fallen. When did he die? After the battle with that unknown being, the true Dragon Emperor escaped. Who did he meet after that? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He was very puzzled. The person the true Dragon Great Emperor was meeting must be someone of extraordinary status. After the true Dragon Emperor died, that person, or those people, built a tomb for the true Dragon Emperor and erected a tombstone. He had buried the true Dragon Emperor here. Unfortunately, this was destined to be a mystery to Lin Feng. That was because he had missed some scenes. Although I'm dead, I found the answer. It's a huge lie that deceived the cultivators of ancient times. How many heroes and geniuses have been buried? A faint sigh sounded in Lin Feng's mind. Then, everything came to an abrupt end. Lin Feng opened his eyes with a grave expression. The true Dragon Emperor. In order to find out the so-called truth, he had died. What was the huge lie that the true Dragon Emperor had told him? What kind of lies could deceive the cultivators of ancient times? Lin Feng felt as if 100 claws were scratching at his heart, but he had no way of finding out these secrets. A message has appeared in my mind. Is this the message from the Iron Token? Lin Feng was shocked. He used his inner sight to check this piece of information. True Dragon Great Emperor's Token. The token of the true Dragon Great Emperors. With this token, you can command the dragon race. No one dares to disobey you. Also, this token records the legacy of the 9th true Dragon Great Emperor in the Starry Sky world. The message was short. However, the content was shocking. This was actually the legendary true Dragon Emperor token. This token was equivalent to the Imperial Jade Seal of a mundane country. The 9th true Dragon Great Emperor was the last true Dragon Great Emperor. Chapter 1570. It wasn't an ordinary spatial ring. Inside the spatial ring was a boundless mountain and river. The inside of the spatial ring used to be filled with mountains, forests, and spiritual beasts. It was full of vitality. But now, in the mountain river ring, the heavens collapsed, the earth cracked, the forests were destroyed, and the air of death was everywhere. There were even many corpses of ferocious beasts. Lin Feng guessed that the corpses of ferocious beasts had been raised in captivity in the past. Lin Feng found a dozen treasures. Those were the treasures left behind by the evil corpses. At that moment, those treasures were still intact. Lin Feng was very happy. As long as the treasuries were intact, the treasures inside wouldn't be destroyed. He used his godly awareness to disappear from the room and enter the spatial ring. The spatial ring? That's amazing. It can turn a spatial ring into a world of mountains and rivers. The evil corpse's methods are incredible. Lin Feng walked around the spatial ring. He couldn't help but sigh. The mountain river ring was the highest grade ring. This kind of ring was different from ordinary rings. Although ordinary storage rings could store things, living creatures could not enter the storage ring. But the spatial ring was different. Even living people, beasts, and spiritual beasts could enter it. Cultivators could even plant spiritual herbs and raise spiritual beasts inside. Lin Feng had only heard about the spatial ring before. Now that he had seen it, he was amazed. I can move the immortality peach tree inside. Lin Feng couldn't help but scratch his chin. Lin Feng walked around the spatial ring. The evil corpse was a strong cultivator from the celestial world. He was very curious about the treasures in his spatial ring. He tried to break the spatial ring. But Lin Feng hadn't thought that at that moment, a powerful spatial ring would come out of the spatial ring. Break it when you're a celestial god. Suddenly, a deep voice came out of the spatial ring. Then, a powerful force sent Lin Feng flying. A spatial ring? A spatial ring spirit? Lin Feng looked at the spatial ring in surprise. He smiled bitterly. Only heavenly gods were qualified to enter the treasury? Lin Feng hadn't entered the immortal state yet. There were still the Void God Realm, Divine Fire Realm, and True God Realm before reaching the Heavenly God Realm. Breaking through to the Heavenly Deity Realm, God knows how long it would take. Although Lin Feng was a little depressed, he had no way to break the restrictions of the treasury for the time being. He flew out of the mountain and river ring and moved the immortality peach tree into the mountain and river ring. Although the mountains and rivers formed within the mountain and river ring had been destroyed, and the mountains and forests had been destroyed, Lin Feng planned to spend some time to slowly repair the broken laws. With Lin Feng's ability, he could restore the mountain river ring to its original state sooner or later. Following that, Lin Feng placed the dark green mantis scorpion king, the swarm of insects, BB, and the dragon rabbit into his mountain river ring. This place was much more comfortable than staying in the beast bag. 10 days later, a blue luan divine bird flew to the eastern sea world. The blue luan was the descendant of the phoenix. It was a divine beast. The sky martial continent didn't have a blue luan divine bird. Therefore, this blue luan divine bird was most likely from the outer realm or the Nine States continent. The probability of it coming from the Nine States continent was the highest because it was rumored that the Phoenix clan's headquarters was in the Nine States continent. As the descendant of the Phoenix, the blue luan would naturally live in the Nine States continent. During this period of time, because of the arrival of the cultivators from the Nine States continent, the sea route between the Sky Martial continent and the Nine States continent was opened again. Although there were many dangers, there were still cultivators from the Nine States continent entering the Sky Martial continent. There were also many cultivators from the Sky Martial continent heading to the Nine States continent. Originally, many people were waiting for the Tianqi Road to open and enter the Nine States continent along it. Now, many people were heading to the Nine States continent in advance. Of course, there were also many people waiting for the Tianqi Road to open. It was safer to go along the Tianqi Road to the Nine States continent. If they took a ship to cross the endless sea to the Sky Martial continent, even with the nautical chart, danger lurked everywhere. If they were not careful, they could die. For example, the 9 great pirate lords had entered the endless sea to head to the Nine States continent. The pirate ships of the 9 great pirate lords were extremely powerful. They had a higher chance of successfully crossing the endless sea to reach the Nine States continent. If it were other cultivators, it would be much more difficult to reach the Nine States continent. Now, the Blue Luan's destination was the eastern sea nation of Desire. Half a month later, the Blue Luan arrived above the nation of Desire. The Blue Luan divine bird transformed into a young man in green robes. I wonder if Brother Lin Feng is here? The young cultivator that the Blue Luan transformed into asked. Swoosh. A light flashed and a figure appeared silently on the left of the young man in the void. The young man narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Lin Feng, who was standing in the void. He was extremely shocked. He did not even notice how Lin Feng appeared. This person should be the leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army, right? The rumors are true. Although the leader of the Eastern Sea Cultivator Army is young, his cultivation base is quite heaven-defying. The young man could not help but ponder. Your Excellency, why are you looking for me? Lin Feng asked. The young man cupped his fists and said, I am Mu Ziliu of the Green Luan tribe of the Nine States continent. I have received orders from my elders to invite Brother Lin to the primitive secret realm. Oh? The 9 chaos swords needed to open the origin secret dimension have all been taken by someone else? Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly. Mu Ziliu nodded and said, It's like this. Of the 9 small chaos swords, Brother Lin has 1. The daughter of the creation demon monarch, Murong Sun has 1. My Green Luan tribe has 1. The son of the heavenly demon emperor, Gongziyu, has 1. The Star Moon tribe has 1. The 9 States continents White Bone tribe has 1. The God-devouring tribe has 1. One of the 9 States continents rogue cultivators, Daomia Exalted, has 1. And the last one seems to have been taken by a Taoist from the Moving Mountain Taoist clan. Lin Feng was surprised. It seemed that the forces that had obtained the small chaos swords were extremely extraordinary. However, who was the Moving Mountain Taoist? Could it be the immeasurable Taoist? Lin Feng couldn't help but whisper to himself. Why was this damn Taoist priest always involved? Mu Ziliu continued. 10 days later, we'll gather in the extraterrestrial star world. Taoist Lin, please be on time. Time waits for no one. If you're late, I'm afraid that Huangfu Qingtian will take the primitive secret land. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. I won't disturb you. See you in 10 days. Mu Ziliu clasped his fists and then turned into a green Luan divine bird. He spread his wings and flew high. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace. In the secret realm of ether, Huangfu Qingtian had reached the 31st step of the celestial ladder. The higher the ladder, the harder it was. The harder it was to go up. Although there were only 2 ladders to reach the 33rd step, it was as difficult as climbing the sky. The mysterious black-clothed man shrouded in a black robe appeared and said, "The 9 small chaos swords that opened the primitive secret realm have been found. Now, those people will gather and come to the primitive secret realm. They want to rob me of my opportunity. How can I let them get what they want? Soon, I will enter the primitive secret realm. At that time, those people will all die." Wang Fu Qingtian's eyes flashed with cold-killing intent. Chapter 1571. This time, Lin Feng didn't plan on bringing too many people with him to the Origin secret territory. Ordinary cultivators wouldn't be of any use, so he only brought Du Zhu and the giant astral beast. Du Zhu and the giant astral beast were both at the divine flame realm, so they could help Lin Feng. The 3 of them boarded the Xinyuan ancient starship and headed to the outer realm. The ancient ship leaped through the void and quickly headed for the outer realm. "I wonder what the primeval Lord of Heaven left behind?" Du Zhu asked expectantly. The giant astral beast said, "The primeval Lord of Heaven was the strongest existence among the Xiantian life forms, so the things he left behind must be heaven-defying." Lin Feng's heart trembled, and he couldn't help but say, "When the primeval Lord of Heaven transformed into Pango, his most precious treasure was the world-splitting axe. When the world was first created, the primeval Lord of Heaven obtained great fortune from the world, and his cultivation increased greatly. He became the leader of the immortals, and from then on, the primeval Lord of Heaven was called the primeval Lord of Heaven. During that time, the primeval Lord of Heaven was probably the strongest he had ever been in his life. What other treasures did he have apart from the world-splitting axe?" Du Zhu said, "The primeval Lord of Heaven had countless treasures. Apart from the world-splitting axe, there were 3 other powerful treasures: the heavenly auspicious cloud, the primal chaos bead, and the Pango banner. Of the 4 treasures, the heavenly auspicious cloud was the most mysterious. It was the primeval Lord of Heaven's most precious treasure for self-defense, and it was one of the 5 great heavenly Tao mysterious treasures." Lin Feng said, "The primeval Lord of Heaven is indeed worthy of being the strongest Xiantian life form. Any one of these treasures is heaven-defying. It's no wonder that the top powers are so interested in the Origin secret territory. If the primeval Lord of Heaven's treasures were in the Origin secret territory, then obtaining one of them would definitely increase his strength greatly. At that time, he would be able to easily leave the other powers in the dust." Du Zhu replied, "That's right. As long as you can obtain one of these treasures, you'll be able to dominate a region and sweep everything before you." Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and said, "I don't care if I can get them or not, but I can't let Huangfu Qingtian get them. If he does, I'll die without a grave." Whoosh! The Xinyuan ancient starship quickly flew towards the outer realm. In the outer space, it was cold and dark. It was very difficult for ordinary cultivators to survive in outer space, mainly because the environment there was simply too harsh. First of all, space-time storms often swept up in the starry sky outside the realm. Once one collided with a space-time storm, it was simply disastrous. Immortal realm cultivators might be able to withstand the space-time storm. However, if an ordinary cultivator were to encounter one, they would definitely die. Secondly, the energy in the outer space was extremely thin. It was too difficult to absorb it. Without the replenishment of energy, ordinary cultivators would not be able to survive. But immortal realm cultivators were different. Deity realm cultivators were powerful and could absorb energy from beyond the 9 heavens to replenish themselves. Lastly, there were many terrifying space beasts in the outer space. If an ordinary cultivator were to encounter them, they would almost certainly die. Of course, there were many other reasons that were enough to cause a fatal blow to ordinary cultivators. When the Xinyuan ancient starship arrived at the outer realm, there were already 3 forces in the outer realm. These 3 forces were the Blue Phoenix race and the White Bone race of the Jiuzhou continent. These 2 forces could be called the top forces in the Jiuzhou continent. Lin Feng knew a little about the Blue Phoenix race. However, Lin Feng was extremely unfamiliar with the White Bone race. There were more than 10 people from the Blue Phoenix race, and the leader was an old man with a sage-like demeanor. The White Bone race had about the same number of people. The cultivators of the white bone race were extremely strange. Their bodies were made of white bones, as if they were dead creatures. But in fact, they were not dead creatures. Seeing the white bone race, Lin Feng muttered in his heart. How could the white bone race have sex? How could they have children? Then, Lin Feng could not help but smile bitterly. His thoughts jumped too quickly. What did it have to do with him how the white bone race had children? Haha, brother Lin, you're here. Let me introduce you. Mu Ziliu said with a smile. Lin Feng cupped his fists politely. Mu Ziliu first introduced Lin Feng. This is the leader of the East Sea Cultivator Army, Lin Feng. Then, Mu Ziliu introduced his people. The old man in the lead was called Mu Qingxian, and he was the Blue Phoenix race's Grand Elder. Then, he introduced the rest of his people. Then, Mu Ziliu introduced the cultivators of the white bone race. However, the cold attitude of the cultivators of the white bone race made Mu Ziliu feel quite awkward. Seeing the cold attitude of the white bone race, Lin Feng did not have any intention of getting to know them. Not long after, a Taoist priest came to the outer realm. This Taoist priest was none other than Wu Liang Taoist. Just as Lin Feng had guessed, the mountain-moving Taoist priest who had obtained the small primal chaos sword was Wu Liang Taoist. When Wu Liang Taoist saw Lin Feng, he was very happy. He quickly flew over and said with a smile, "Boy, you're really lucky. You were swallowed by the space-time reversal, but you still managed to come back alive. You don't know how sad I was when I found out that you were swallowed by the space-time reversal." Lin Feng was very happy. This damned Taoist priest was sad for him. He was not a friend in vain. However, Wu Liang Taoist's next sentence made Lin Feng have the urge to kick him to death. Thinking about all the treasures and powerful divine abilities on you, I feel sad when you were swallowed by the space-time reversal. Wu Liang Taoist said, "Get off my ship. I don't know you." Lin Feng said angrily. How could it be so easy to make a thick-skinned guy like Taoist Wu Liang scram? This guy found a place and spread out a mat. Then, he laid down on the mat, crossed his legs, and hummed a little tune while waiting for the others to arrive. Murong Sun Air arrived not long after. She had a sexy body as usual. When she saw Lin Feng, she couldn't help but groan a few times. This time, Murong Sun Air didn't come alone. She was accompanied by 7 or 8 cultivators. Those cultivators were very strong, especially an old man. He was unfathomable. Lin Feng guessed that those people were sent by the Fortune Demon Monarch to protect Murong Sun Air. The people from the Star Moon clan also arrived quickly. There were more than 20 of them, and they were all experts in the clan. They were all Divine Realm experts. The God Eater clan arrived right after them. They were very mysterious. They didn't come out of the ancient ship. Nobody knew how many of them came or what they looked like. Daomia Shangzuan arrived alone. He looked like he was in his 40s. He had an immortal sword on his back. He seemed to be a sword cultivator. The magic lotus tore the void apart. Gongzi Yu of the Heaven Devil clan arrived. Chapter 1572. Gongzi Yu stepped out of the magic lotus. He let out a strange laugh and said, "I've made everyone wait for a long time. Since everyone is here, let's set off now." No one had any objections and boarded their respective flying techniques. Then, the group flew towards the depths of the starry sky. Haha, Lin Feng, you should be praying that Huangfu Qingtian hasn't obtained the item from the primeval secret realm. If he obtains it, then all of our efforts will be for naught. You're different. When the time comes, you'll die a miserable death. Gongzi Yu looked at Lin Feng and said with a fake smile. No matter how one listened to it, there was a hint of schadenfreude in his voice. Lin Feng raised his eyelids and said, "You don't have to worry about that." Gongzi Yu sneered and returned to the magic lotus, no longer appearing. These people are not good people. Although they are cooperating now, when they reach the primeval secret realm to snatch the treasures, they will immediately turn hostile. Du Zhu said. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Of course, they are all eyeing the treasures inside." The giant star beast said, "These powers are not weak. Each one is more ferocious than the other. I think this trip to the primeval secret realm will not be easy." Taoist Wuliang grinned and said, "Most of the time, it's not just the number of people that can obtain the treasures inside. Let's just wait and see. The group rode various flying magic treasures in the starry sky world for 10 days. Lin Feng also obtained an ancient star map. This ancient star map was the ancient star map that led to the primeval secret realm. According to the markings on the ancient star map, the primeval secret realm should be located in a sea of stars. That sea of stars was vast and boundless, and danger lurked everywhere. The primeval secret realm was hidden in the deepest part of the sea of stars. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. They finally arrived at the sea of stars. From afar, a huge ocean appeared in the starry sky world, enveloping the endless starry sky. Moonlight flowed within the vortex. The power of the stars. As for the moonlight and the power of the stars, they actually condensed into liquid. It was like the seawater in the vast ocean. It flowed slowly. Can I absorb the moonlight and star power directly, increasing my soul power? Lin Feng's heart couldn't help but move. Du Zhu shook his head. No. Who knows how many toxic and harmful substances have been fused into the moon essence and star essence? Once you absorb them, you'll have to expend a lot of energy to neutralize them. It'll take a lot of time, and it won't be worth it. Lin Feng nodded. The 9 flying magic treasures flew into the starry sea, flying all the way to the depths of the starry sea. Waves were surging in the sea of stars. From time to time, powerful star beasts would rush out from the sea of stars and attack the 9 flying magic treasures. Boom, boom, boom. From time to time, the spirit stone cannon of the Xinyuan ancient starry sky ship would fire shells at the star beasts attacking the ancient starship. The others did the same. They launched all kinds of attacks to kill the star beasts that pounced on them. Look, what's that in the depths? Suddenly, someone pointed to the depths of the Starsea world. The blood-red clouds that blotted out the sky and covered the sun shrouded over. No one knew what was in the clouds. A sinister and terrifying aura emanated from the blood-red clouds. Not good. It's the starry sky blood devils. Everyone, gather together and prepare for battle. Gongziyu's expression changed. The starry sky blood devils were a branch of the demon race. This kind of creature was abnormally terrifying and savage. They only knew how to kill. Even the sky demons weren't as savage as the starry sky blood devils. Clearly, many people had heard of the terror of the starry sky blood devils, and their expressions turned grave. The 9 flying magic treasures all activated their defensive restrictions and gathered together, preparing for battle. The blood-red clouds that blotted out the sky flew over. Monsters could be seen entrenched in the blood-red clouds. These monsters had the heads of wolves, eyes of scorpions, noses of tigers, and ears of dragons. Their bodies, however, were humanoid. They had huge wings and sharp claws. Their bodies were covered in blood-red hair. They were extremely ugly. They looked like red-furred demons that had crawled out of hell. A mysterious black-clothed man stood in the center of the group of starry sky blood devils. This black-clothed man was the one who had appeared beside Huangfu Qingtian in the secret realm of heaven. The black-clothed man held a bell in his hand. He shook it gently. These starry sky blood devils had to listen to the black-clothed man's command. This black-clothed man's origin was extremely mysterious, and his methods were extremely strange. He could even control terrifying creatures like the starry sky blood devils. Who in the world was he? Under his control, the starry sky blood devils quickly surrounded the 9 flying magic treasures. Endless blood-red light shrouded them. The densely packed starry sky blood devils let out ear-piercing screams. Lin Feng felt his scalp go numb when he saw the starry sky blood devils rushing over. Spirit stone cannons. Fire. Lin Feng gave the order. Countless spirit stone cannons shot out and bombarded the starry sky blood devils. Gongzi used the magic lotus swept out billions of demonic lights. Everyone else's ancient starships also shot out a dense barrage of spirit stone cannons. The battle lasted for half an hour, and countless starry sky blood devils were killed. In the end, some of the starry sky blood devils managed to escape. Seeing the starry sky blood devils leave, everyone was finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. If the battle had continued, their flying magic treasures' defensive restriction formations would have been torn apart by the starry sky blood devils. At that time, it would have caused a great loss, and many people would have died tragically. Fortunately, they had resisted the starry sky blood devil's attack. Boom! However, just as everyone breathed a sigh of relief, a violent fluctuation came from the depths. When they sensed that fluctuation, everyone's expression suddenly changed. It's the fluctuation from the primitive secret realm. Oh no, those starry sky blood devils must have been manipulated by someone to stop us and buy time for Huangfu Qingtian. I'm afraid Huangfu Qingtian has already entered the primitive secret realm. An expert from the White Bone clan said gloomily. Quick, let's go to the primitive secret realm. Mu Qingxian from the Blue Phoenix clan said. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Everyone hurriedly drove their flying magic treasures to the depths of the secret realm. A day later, they arrived at the outer region of the primitive secret realm. Summon the primal chaos small swords. Mu Qingxian shouted in a deep voice. Buzz. Then, everyone took out their primal chaos small swords. Seeing the 9 primal chaos small swords floating in the air, Lin Feng wanted to snatch them all and put them into the revered sword mound. The 9 primal chaos small swords merged into one and became a huge primal chaos sword. Then, it slashed toward the primitive secret realm. Puff! The barrier of the primitive secret realm was torn apart by the primal chaos large sword. Chapter 1573. After tearing the primitive secret realm apart, the chaos giant sword split into 9 smaller chaos swords. The 9 chaos swords flew back to their respective masters. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Then, one by one, the flying magic treasures rushed into the primitive secret realm. Then, each of them found a direction and quickly flew into the depths. The primeval secret realm stretched as far as the eye could see. Its aura was ancient and vast, as if it had come to the primal chaos era. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, the star behemoth, and Taoist Wu Liang flew out of the ancient void ship. Lin Feng immediately put away the Xianyuan ancient starry sky ship. Where should we go next? Du Zhu frowned and looked around. It was impossible to search aimlessly for the things left behind by the primeval Lord of Heaven in such a huge place. The boundless Taoist laughed strangely and said, Come with me. I know where there are treasures in the Origin's secret realm. Lin Feng was shocked. This immeasurable Taoist knew quite a lot of things. However, this fellow had always been mysterious. Perhaps when he was excavating some ancient tomb, he had found some secrets regarding the primeval mystic realm. Lin Feng and the other 2 followed the immeasurable Taoist and flew all the way into the depths. Suddenly, a blood cloud appeared in the distance. That blood cloud quickly flew towards Lin Feng's group of 4. Soon, Lin Feng and the others saw clearly what the blood cloud was. That tumbling blood cloud was actually the starry sky blood demon. When they were in the starry sky world, Lin Feng and the others had been attacked by the starry sky blood devil. Now, the starry sky blood demon had appeared once again. Du Zhu said in a deep voice, Huangfu Qingtian must have a helper who can control the astral blood devils. Now that these astral blood devils have appeared, it seems like Huangfu Qingtian is most likely in the depths. Lin Feng nodded and said, Later, you guys will help me stop the astral blood devil. I'll go into the depths and seize the primeval Lord of Heaven's legacy. Lin Feng had just finished speaking. The distant starry sky blood demon had already flown over. The blood-red clouds that blotted out the sky enveloped the heaven and earth, and waves of destructive energy waves swept through the entire world. Kikik, even from far away, the starry sky blood devil let out a series of ear-piercing screams. Vaguely, Lin Feng could see a mysterious existence shrouded in black robes deep within the horde of blood demons. Lin Feng said, These astral blood devils are indeed being controlled by someone. You guys should be careful. Yes. Du Zhu and the giant beast of starry sky responded and rushed towards the starry sky blood devil. Taoist Wu Liang, on the other hand, ran in another direction. Damn! That damned Taoist! Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. He had long known that immeasurable Taoist was unreliable. Sure enough, it was as he had guessed. Before the battle even started, immeasurable Taoist had already run away. Du Zhu and the giant star beast joined forces to temporarily hold back the horde of star blood devils, while Lin Feng charged into the depths. "Umph. Where are you going?" The mysterious black-robed man's voice was cold. He jumped out and rushed towards Lin Feng, trying to stop Lin Feng. Lin Feng waved his right hand. Swoosh! There was a flash of light. His clone appeared with the great desolate war spear in hand and charged towards the mysterious black-robed man. In an instant, the godly state avatar and the mysterious black-robed man engaged in a fierce battle, temporarily delaying the mysterious black-robed man. Lin Feng charged into the depths of the secret realm. In the end, he reached the depths of the primitive secret realm. There was a thick fog here. Lin Feng charged towards the depths of the fog. Boom! Suddenly, someone attacked Lin Feng. That person threw a punch at Lin Feng which contained the force of a thunderbolt. Lin Feng couldn't dodge that punch. It was a monk. However, it was obvious that this monk was not one of the cultivators who had come with Lin Feng. Lin Feng was confused. Where did this monk come from? Could it be? Was there another way to enter the primitive secret realm? And this monk had entered through some other means? Amitabha, benefactor, I'll send you to the Western paradise. This monk looked solemn. He even made killing sound so sacred. Buddhism was a special sect because there were many branches of Buddhism. Some monks were indeed holy monks who were merciful. However, some monks were sanctimonious. The identity of a monk was just a tool to hide their identity. Obviously, the monk in front of him was one of those sanctimonious monks. His attack. It had already made it impossible for Lin Feng to dodge. If it were someone else, facing this monk's attack, they would probably die. However, Lin Feng was different. He had the heaven patching technique. He wanted to borrow another chance from the heavens. Swish! There was a flash of light. Lin Feng disappeared. As for the monk's sure kill attack, it landed on empty air. Oh no! The monk's expression changed drastically. He wanted to quickly jump through the air and leave. At this time, Lin Feng had already appeared behind him and slashed out with a heaven-splitting slash. This attack was as fast as lightning, making it impossible for the monk to dodge. Puff! The monk's right arm was directly chopped off. Then, the power of this attack did not decrease and almost cut the monk in half. At an extremely critical moment, the monk barely managed to resolve Lin Feng's attack. He turned around and fled into the distance. Lin Feng quickly chased after him and said coldly, "Don't you think it's too late to leave now? Leave your life behind." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng punched towards the monk. "Do you know who I am?" The monk cried out in horror. "Who cares who you are? I will kill you today." Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. That tyrannical punch landed on the monk's body. Bang! The monk's body exploded, and his body and soul were destroyed. Lin Feng took his source energy. Then, he quickly rushed towards the depths. Not long after, Lin Feng saw a big tree lying on the ground. This big tree was really too big. Its diameter was actually 40 to 50 miles, and it emitted an ancient aura. Heavens, what kind of tree is this? Lin Feng looked at the big tree with shock. He had never seen such a huge tree. This tree had obviously been cut off by someone. It had long withered and lost all its vitality. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh at the uncanny workmanship of the creator. How could such a huge tree be born? He flew above the huge tree. Suddenly, Lin Feng heard the sound of an intense battle coming from the depths. Boundless Buddhist light covered the sky and the sun. It was obviously a Buddhist monk. Lin Feng quickly rushed towards the depths. Finally, he arrived at the depths of the big tree. He saw that on a huge branch of the big tree, a stone door had been chiseled out. There was an unknown treasure behind the stone door. At this moment, a fierce battle was taking place outside the stone door. A total of 10 Buddhist masters were besieging Huangfu Qingtian. Chapter 1574. The 10 monks besieged Huangfu Qingtian, but they couldn't kill him quickly, which showed how strong he was. Lin Feng hid in the dark and didn't show himself. He was silently observing, waiting for the right time to attack. These monks are greedy by nature. It seems like they're all demonic, evil, or evil monks. It's good that they're fighting Huangfu Qingtian to the death. It's best if both sides suffer. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and observed the battle. 10,000 Buddhas greeting. Vajra wave fist. Vajra finger. Dragon elephant prajna art. These Buddhist cultivators unleashed all kinds of powerful abilities and launched fierce attacks on Huangfu Qingtian. Every divine ability was a supreme divine ability created by the eminent monks of Buddhism after thousands of refinements, and its power was immense. When the 10 monks attacked together, the power they created was enough to destroy the heavens and earth. Evil monks, you're courting death. Today, I'll fulfill your wish. Facing the siege of the 10 monks, Huangfu Qingtian's voice was cold. He stepped forward, and his body split into many new bodies. Blinking. Then, 10 Huangfu Qingtian appeared. What kind of technique is that? Lin Feng was astonished. Huangfu Qingtian's technique was really heaven-defying. He could split himself into 10. It was a divine technique. Buddha of the world. The 10 Huangfu Qingtian spoke at the same time. Their hands continuously formed hand seals, and a destructive force condensed on their palms. Within the range of the destructive force, then, an illusory world appeared. Ancient Buddhas sitting cross-legged appeared in the illusory world. Buddha of the world meant Buddha diagram in Buddhism. It was a diagram of Buddha. It was called a Buddha. This world stupa was a divine ability created by an eminent Buddhist monk. The 10 ancient Buddhas appeared and collided with the 10 monks' attacks. Huangfu Qingtian's Buddha of the world was so powerful that it directly broke the 10 monks' attacks. Then, the 10 great monks were all sent flying. The 10 Huangfu Qingtians jumped at the same time and attacked the 10 monks. You dare to be violent? The 10 monks roared and attacked Huangfu Qingtian, who was attacking them. Bang, bang, bang. A series of collisions rang out. One monk after another was sent flying. For monks who were slightly weaker were directly killed by Huangfu Qingtian. Huangfu Qingtian is so strong. He can transform into 10 and still display such terrifying strength. Unbelievable. Lin Feng took a deep breath and looked at Huangfu Qingtian with deep shock. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Right when Huangfu Qingtian was in battle with those monks, over 10 figures suddenly flew over. These were a dozen or so skeletal creatures. Experts of the White Bone Clan. Haha, so the treasures are here. An expert of the White Bone Clan laughed. Swish, swish, swish. At this moment, several figures flew over from afar. The Blue Phoenix race, the Star Moon race, the God-devouring race, the Heavenly Devil race, Daomier Exalted, Morong Sun Air, and the others were all present. Huangfu Qingtian. It seems that you haven't obtained the treasures left by the primeval Lord of Heaven. Gongzi, you said with a smile. Huangfu Qingtian and the other monks also stopped fighting. The other 9 doppelgangers turned into streams of light and entered Huangfu Qingtian's body, leaving only Huangfu Qingtian's original body. Haha, you're all here? Very good. Stone door. Open. At this moment, Huangfu Qingtian suddenly laughed. He waved his hand, and the stone door behind him began to rumble. Soon, the stone door opened automatically. What's this? Everyone's eyelids twitched violently when they saw this scene, because everyone realized that something wasn't quite right. Huangfu Qingtian seemed to be deliberately waiting for them to arrive. What you want is inside. Go in. Huangfu Qingtian grinned hideously. Then, he soared into the sky and flew into the air. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The stone door emitted a powerful devouring power that shrouded everyone. The first experts to be enveloped by the stone door were the 6 monks who were closest to it. They were too close to the stone door, so after struggling for a while, they were sucked into the stone door. What's this? Impossible. The monks seemed to have seen something terrifying. They cried out in disbelief at the same time. No. Then, the devoured monks cried out in horror. Then, they lost all signs of life. They're all dead. Many people were horrified. They wanted to run away, but they were enveloped by the devouring power from the stone door and couldn't break free. People were constantly being devoured. Then, he let out a blood-curdling scream and died. What's so strange about the stone door? Lin Feng broke out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, he was hiding in the distance and didn't show himself. Otherwise, he would have encountered the same crisis. Huangfu Qingtian, how dare you scheme against us? Many people roared angrily, their killing intent surging. Everyone knew that they had been tricked by Huangfu Qingtian. This was not the place of the primeval Lord of Heaven's inheritance. Instead, it was a place of absolute danger that could take everyone's life. Ha 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 ha. You people wanted to steal my inheritance, so you were tricked to death. You only have yourselves to blame. Waiting for death in endless despair should feel good. Huangfu Qingtian laughed sinisterly. Then, he soared into the sky and flew into the distance. Swoosh. Lin Feng used void travel and carefully followed behind Huangfu Qingtian. Huangfu Qingtian must have gone to find the primeval Lord of Heaven's true inheritance. Lin Feng didn't show himself but followed quietly. If there was a chance, Lin Feng wouldn't mind snatching the primeval Lord of Heaven's orthodoxy. Finally, Huangfu Qingtian landed in the depths of a mountain range. The innermost mountain peak was 10,000 meters tall and lofty. Huangfu Qingtian stood in front of the mountain peak and kowtowed 9 times sincerely. Then, he said, "Great primeval Lord of Heaven, please show yourself. I'm here to inherit your orthodoxy." As soon as he said that, a loud rumbling sound could be heard. The earth quaked and the mountains shook. Crack, crack. Then, the innermost mountain peak began to crack. Seeing this, Lin Feng was shocked. The mountain peak was cracking. Could the primeval Lord of Heaven's orthodoxy be in the mountain peak? Crack, crack. Cracks continued to appear on the mountain peak. Finally, the mountain peak was completely cracked. A 3,000-meter-tall statue appeared in the cracked mountain peak. The statue pointed to the sky and looked askance at the heavens. It was the statue of the primeval Lord of Heaven. Chapter 1575. The Primeval Lord of Heaven. A figure that only appeared in legends appeared in Lin Feng's sight. Of course, the Primeval Lord of Heaven was now a statue. Even so, Lin Feng found it hard to calm down. The origin of this existence was frighteningly great. Incarnation of Panga, creation of heaven and earth. Later, he became the leader of the immortals. He ruled over countless ancient eras, until the great battle of the Xiantian life forms. Only then did he reach his end. In fact, Lin Feng was very puzzled. How did such a powerful figure like the primeval Lord of Heaven die? Who could kill him? However, all of this had become a mystery that had been buried by history. Lin Feng was destined to be unable to find out what had happened back then. Now that the statue of the primeval Lord of Heaven had appeared, the sound of Tao lingered in the air. It was the sound of the great Tao. Even though it was only a statue of the primeval Lord of Heaven, it was able to resonate with heaven and earth. Huangfu Qingtian knelt on the ground devoutly and prayed to the heavens. "Great primeval Lord of Heaven, please bestow good fortune upon us so that your orthodoxy can be passed on forever." Huangfu Qingtian then began to kowtow to the statue of the primeval Lord of Heaven. Thump, 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 one kowtow after another. He kowtowed dozens of times in a row, but the statue didn't move at all. Lin Feng muttered, "Could it be that the orthodoxy of the primeval Lord of Heaven isn't here? If it is, why hasn't it moved after Huangfu Qingtian kowtowed so many times?" Although he was very puzzled, Lin Feng still calmed down and watched. It was not until Huangfu Qingtian kowtowed 99 times that the heavenly Lord of Yuanshi's statue changed. Rumble. Suddenly, the statue of the celestial master of the origin moved. Lin Feng was astonished. The statue had no life qi, but it could still move? It was extremely strange. Huangfu Qingtian was extremely excited when he saw the heavenly primogenitor statue start to move. Perhaps it was because he was too excited that his body was trembling slightly. The heavenly primogenitor statue pointed at the sky. Buzz. A beam of divine light shot out from the heavenly Lord of the Origin's finger. That divine light struck the 9 heavens. Immediately after, a vortex appeared. It was a twisting whirlpool. A shocking ripple was emitted from the twisting vortex. "This is..." Lin Feng looked at the vortex. It seemed like something was about to fly out of the vortex. Once the thing in the vortex flew out, it would definitely be taken by Huangfu Qingtian. Therefore, Lin Feng had to take action at this time. He no longer hesitated and directly rushed into the sky toward the vortex. Seeing Lin Feng suddenly appear, Huang Fu Qingtian burst into laughter. He threw a palm at Lin Feng and sneered. Lin Feng, do you think I don't know you're hiding in the dark? I knew you were coming from the giant tree, but you didn't show up. I've been guarding against you. Today, even if you have 3 heads and 6 arms, you can't stop me from getting the orthodoxy of the heavenly Lord of the origin. Your life is destined to be a tragedy because you'll become my stepping stone. This is your destiny, and no one can change it. That's not necessarily true. Lin Feng looked indifferent and threw a palm at Huang Fu Qingtian. Bang! The two of them collided, and an earth-shattering strength penetrated into Lin Feng's body. At that moment, Lin Feng felt like his body was about to explode. Huang Fu Qingtian's strength was so terrifying that Lin Feng couldn't help but feel terrified. He hurriedly used the Archean dragonesque elephant art to dissolve the terrifying force that poured into his body. Then, Lin Feng took out the armor of death. His body was protected by the armor of death. Then, Lin Feng jumped up. He once again attacked Huang Fu Qingtian. You don't know what's good for you. Huang Fu Qingtian looked indifferent and threw another palm at Lin Feng. At this moment, Taoist Wu Liang rushed over from afar and cackled strangely. Boy, hang in there. Don't get killed by Huang Fu Qingtian. I'm going to collect the treasure. Wu Liang Taoist had been waiting for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Now, it was finally here. Wu Liang Taoist rushed toward the huge vortex. At that moment, Huang Fu Qingtian sneered. Lin Feng felt that something was wrong and shouted, Damn Taoist, be careful. Don't fall for it. Asterisk rumble. Asterisk before Lin Feng could finish his words, the Yuanshi Tianzuan statue stretched out its big hand and slapped at Wu Liang Taoist. That attack hadn't even landed on Immeasurable Taoist's body. Just the aura that it emitted was enough to kill Immeasurable Taoist. It was already unbearable for Immeasurable Taoist. Wah! Wu Liang Taoist spat out a mouthful of blood and his face was as pale as paper. It was hard to imagine how powerful the Yuanshi Tianzuan statue was. If that palm strike had landed on Immeasurable Taoist, wouldn't Immeasurable Taoist die without a proper burial ground? Everything seemed to be under Huang Fu Qingtian's control. That was why Huang Fu Qingtian sneered when he saw Wu Liang Taoist trying to collect the treasure that was about to appear in the vortex. Wu Liang Taoist spat out blood and cursed, Yuanshi Tianzuan, you're the ancestor of Taoism, and I'm a Taoist. Even if you have Taoism, you should pass it on to me. How dare you pass it on to an outsider, and now you want to destroy me? Today, I'll destroy the statue you left in the world. Wu Liang Taoist obviously had some tricks up his sleeve. Flames burned fiercely above his head. Life sacrifice. Lin Feng was shocked. Wu Liang Taoist was sacrificing his own life. But what was he going to do by sacrificing his life? The Yuanshi Tianzuan statue was so powerful that even if he sacrificed his life, he wouldn't be able to deal with it. Lin Feng was puzzled, and so was Huang Fu Qingtian. Huang Fu Qingtian was obviously very confident in the Yuanshi Tianzuan statue. Therefore, he wasn't worried when he saw Wu Liang Taoist sacrificing his life. At the same time, Wu Liang Taoist took out a mysterious bronze coffin. The bronze coffin wasn't big, only 50 centimeters long, 30 centimeters wide, and 20 centimeters high. Wu Liang Taoist held the bronze coffin with both hands. He said sincerely, I'm willing to sacrifice my life to open the bronze coffin. I'm willing to take responsibility for everything that happens after the coffin is opened. Wu Liang Taoist's voice faded away. After he sacrificed his life, all of his power poured into the bronze coffin. Crack, crack. Following that, the bronze coffin let out a series of cracking sounds. The bronze coffin finally opened, and a bloody arm flew out from the bronze coffin. Wu Liang Taoist was the first to suffer. After the bloody arm flew out, his body was instantly penetrated by the aura emitted by the bloody arm. His body was riddled with holes, and he fell to the ground from the air. Chapter 1576. The bloody arm was too weird. Wu Liang Taoist was lying motionless on the ground. No one knew if he was dead or alive. What kind of creature's arm is that? Lin Feng and Huang Fu Qingtian had stopped fighting and were looking at the arm. The arm was floating in the air, and the 5 fingers could move. When Lin Feng saw that, his scalp went numb. The arm had been cut off many years ago. Its owner had probably been buried by the river of time. Why? Why could the arm move? Generally speaking, a part of the body, whether it was an arm or a leg, after being cut off, the body would lose its life force. Not to mention that the owner was dead, even if the owner was still alive. An arm or a leg that was cut off would lose its life force as well. But obviously, what he was seeing now didn't make any sense. It was extremely strange. Lin Feng had the feeling that his hair was standing on end. The bloody arm paused in the air for a moment, then flew toward the statue of Yuanshi Tianzuan. Rumble. The statue of Yuanshi Tianzuan raised its huge right hand and slapped at the bloody arm. The index finger of the bloody arm gently pointed at Yuanshi Tianzuan's huge hand. Then, a terrifying scene appeared. The bloody arm pierced through the palm of Yuanshi Tianzuan. The statue of Yuanshi Tianzuan had incredible fighting strength. Lin Feng didn't know how strong it was, but it was so terrifying. It couldn't block the bloody arm's attack. Wuliang Taoist had opened the bronze coffin by sacrificing his life. What was the origin of the bloody arm sealed in the coffin? It was so horrifying. It was simply unheard of. Something even more horrifying happened later. The index finger of the bloody arm pierced through the palm of Yuanshi Tianzuan. From where it was pierced through, a large amount of divine power poured into the bloody arm. The bloody arm was devouring the divine power contained in the statue of Yuanshi Tianzuan. It was so weird. Roar. The statue of Yuanshi Tianzuan roared, and the sound waves swept out. This was an extremely powerful sound wave attack. However, when the terrifying sound wave attack bombarded the bloody arm, it did not cause any damage to the bloody arm at all. The bloody arm was still devouring the divine power contained in the Primeval Lord of Heaven statue. At this moment, the heavenly primogenitor statue raised its left arm. Then, he used his palm as a saber and slashed at his right arm. Puff. The Primeval Lord of Heaven cut off his right arm. The heavenly primogenitor statue was forced to cut off one of its arms to protect itself. This scene was rather tragic. However, Lin Feng would not sympathize with the statue of the heavenly primogenitor. This was a battle of life and death. Either you die, or I live. If the Primeval Lord of Heaven statue had the upper hand, it would be disadvantageous to Lin Feng. Therefore, Lin Feng naturally hoped that the bloody arm would destroy the statue of the heavenly primogenitor. Huang Fu Qingtian watched this scene with a gloomy expression. Obviously, things had developed to this point. Huang Fu Qingtian did not expect this at all. But now, Huang Fu Qingtian could not help even if he wanted to. Because the battle between the bloody hand and the statue of the heavenly primogenitor statue was obviously not something Huang Fu Qingtian could participate in. Therefore, Huang Fu Qingtian could only wait for the end of this battle. The bloody hand continued to rush toward the statue of the heavenly primogenitor. This bloody hand wanted to devour all the divine power contained in the statue of the heavenly primogenitor statue. Therefore, the bloody hand launched an attack again. The 5 fingers of the bloody hand moved slightly. Endless blood-red light surged out of his 5 fingers. Then, the blood-colored light turned into 5 blood-colored chains. A clattering sound was heard. The 5 bloody chains directly wrapped around the statue of the heavenly primogenitor statue. The statue of the heavenly primogenitor statue raised its left arm. It slashed down forcefully. Buzz. A gigantic axe materialized in the void. It was just an axe. Although it was just a shadow, it emitted an ancient and boundless aura. The axe that splits heaven and earth. Lin Feng was surprised. When the heavenly primogenitor incarnated as Pango, he used this axe to create the world. Of course, the statue of the heavenly primogenitor statue was only a shadow now, so it could not be compared with the real axe. But even so, the shadow of the heavenly primogenitor statue was still extremely terrifying. It slashed toward the 5 chains. Puff! That terrifying blow directly tore the 5 chains apart. Then, the shadow of the heavenly primogenitor statue chopped toward the bloody arm. The bloody arm's response was very simple. It gently touched the shadow of the heavenly primogenitor statue. The shadow of the heavenly primogenitor statue was instantly pierced through. It could not resist the attack of the bloody arm at all. The power of this bloody arm was a little abnormal, which made people tremble with fear. The bloody arm suddenly sped up, rushed to the statue of the heavenly primogenitor statue in an instant, and then touched the statue's forehead. The statue of the heavenly primogenitor statue flew into a rage and reached out to grab the bloody arm. Suddenly, the bloody arm disappeared and appeared behind the statue of the heavenly primogenitor statue in the next moment. The bloody arm had just touched the statue of the heavenly primogenitor statue's forehead. It was just a feint. The real killing move was behind it. Puff. The bloody arm that appeared behind the statue of the heavenly primogenitor statue instantly pierced through the statue's head, and then began to madly absorb the divine power contained in the statue. How can this be? Huangfu Qingtian saw this scene and could not help but roar hysterically. He could not accept what he had seen. Chapter 1577. Huangfu Qingtian's attack was shockingly powerful, but Lin Feng and Wuliang Daoist weren't ordinary people either. How could they be killed so easily? Facing Huangfu Qingtian's attack, Lin Feng's expression remained indifferent as he used the 9 slashes of the Devil Emperor. Boundless demonic light intertwined, condensing into a destructive attack. As for Wuliang Daoist, it was even simpler, as he directly took out several hundred talismans. This Daoist disdains to fight with you. I'll just use these talismans to kill you. Wuliang Daoist sneered. Daoists were skilled in alchemy, talismans, formations, and many other things. Wuliang Daoist was even more proficient in this field. These talismans were branded with various secret techniques, and they were all activated by Wuliang Daoist. Asterisk bang bang. Asterisk Lin Feng's attack and Wuliang Daoist's talismans all exploded in the void. Then, waves of destructive energy swept through the world. Under the combined attack of the two, Huangfu Qingtian's attack was broken. At that moment, the black-clothed man flew over from afar and shouted, "Leave quickly! Someone save those people. If we don't leave now, we'll be in trouble if they block our way." Huangfu Qingtian's expression changed slightly, but then he nodded gloomily. His cold eyes swept over Lin Feng as he said coldly, "Lin Feng, the 10-year battle is about to begin. I'll let you live for a few more months, but when the time comes, I'll make sure you die without a grave." As soon as he finished speaking, Huangfu Qingtian quickly flew into the distance, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. It's still unknown who will live and who will die. Asterisk rumble. Asterisk at that moment, the huge statue of Yuanshi Tianzuan collapsed with a loud bang, turning into pieces of rubble. The divine power contained within the statue was completely devoured by the bloody arm. Now, the bloody arm was floating in the air, emitting a demonic blood-red light. Lin Feng looked at Wuliang Daoist and asked, "What's the origin of that bloody arm?" The immeasurable Daoist replied, "It's quite a big story, but I can't tell you so casually, as it'll scare you to death." Lin Feng didn't ask any further. He understood immeasurable Daoist's character very well. If this damn Daoist didn't want to say something, then no matter how hard you tried to get to the bottom of it, he still wouldn't say it. This damn Daoist priest looked unreliable, but he was actually cunning and sly. Moreover, his mouth was extremely tight. This kind of personality was the most difficult to deal with. It was almost impossible to get information from this kind of person. The immeasurable Daoist held the bronze coffin with both hands and chanted an incantation. The bloody arm flew back into the bronze coffin. Then, the immeasurable Daoist put away the bronze coffin. Lin Feng and Daoist Wuliang did not stay for long. Instead, they quickly left. For Lin Feng, destroying Huangfu Qingtian's heavenly master Yuanshi's inheritance was the biggest gain. Of course, Lin Feng was not without other gains. The heaven-devouring jar seemed to have swallowed something from the whirlpool, but Lin Feng didn't have time to see what it was. Not long after, Lin Feng saw Du Zhu and the astral beast. They didn't stay in the Origin secret region any longer. Instead, they quickly left. Lin Feng took out the Xinyuan ancient ship, but the immeasurable Daoist didn't board it. Instead, he slipped away. That guy's movements are strange. muttered Du Zhu. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. He must have obtained something, and he wants to leave. I don't think he'll come back to the continent of Tianwu. Lin Feng was very familiar with the immeasurable Taoist's character. If the immeasurable Taoist hadn't obtained a treasure, he would have definitely returned to the martial heaven continent with him. Now that he had slipped away, he was most likely going to study the treasure he had obtained. However, as for what the immeasurable Taoist had obtained, only he knew. Lin Feng had no way of finding out. "What did you obtain, young master?" asked the astral beast. "It seems to have swallowed something as well. This isn't the place to talk. Let's leave first," said Lin Feng. The Xinyuan ancient ship quickly flew into the distance and left the starry sea. At that moment, Lin Feng took out the heaven-devouring jar. With a thought, he took out the thing the jar had swallowed. Core energy. Du Zhu and the astral beast were shocked. That original strength was extremely powerful. Lin Feng was stupefied when he sensed the qi. "I wonder whose source energy it is?" Lin Feng frowned. Asked Du Zhu. "Such pure and powerful core energy. Could it be Yuanshi Tianzuan's?" The astral beast smiled. "No matter whose core energy it is, young master will definitely be able to greatly increase your cultivation base after refining it. You might even be able to break through to the God realm." Lin Feng nodded. Although this core energy wasn't much, it was exceptionally powerful. It could indeed help Lin Feng complete his transformation. This starry sky world is quiet and deserted. It's the best place to break through. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. The commotion caused by his breakthrough was too great. Back when he had broken through to the rebirth realm, a tribulation had occurred. It attracted a lightning tribulation that covered an area of over 100 miles. The momentum was extremely frightening. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. If he broke through to the God realm, he would transform from a mortal to a god. The commotion would be even greater. If he broke through in the Tianwu continent, he didn't know how many people would be alerted. He didn't know how many people would come to kill him. Lin Feng was very clear about this. Many powerful cultivators like to kill geniuses and steal their karmic luck to strengthen themselves. Karmic luck was a mysterious thing, but it truly existed. On the other hand, luck was extremely important to cultivators. Some people were killed by meteorites when they went out. Some people found treasures when they went out. This was because of the difference in karmic luck, resulting in two completely different lives. The more talented a person was, the stronger their karmic luck. Killing a genius would allow one to steal their karmic luck. This was perhaps one of the main reasons why many experts like to kill geniuses. Currently, the Tianwu continent's various powers were tangled and complicated. Thus, the Tianwu continent wasn't a good place to break through. In the starry sky world, this was the best place to break through. There was no need to worry about being surrounded by experts. Just as Lin Feng was about to refine the core energy, he suddenly realized that there was something else inside the core energy. Is there something else? Lin Feng was shocked. He hurriedly took out the thing wrapped in the core energy and found that it was a chaos stone. This chaos stone was only 5 centimeters long and was square in shape. It was densely covered in ancient characters. Du Zhu and the astral beast were shocked as well. Du Zhu said, "Let's see if you can successfully refine it." Lin Feng nodded and tried to refine it with his divine sense, but he failed. He also failed to refine it with his blood. In the end, Lin Feng used a drop of his undying divine blood on it. Only then did the chaos stone undergo a change. Shocking waves of energy spread out from the chaos stone. Lin Feng felt a mysterious connection with the chaos stone. Chapter 1578. The origin of the chaos gems was mysterious, and Lin Feng guessed that they had something to do with the primeval Lord of Heaven. Now, he had formed a faint connection with the chaos gems. He hurriedly sent his divine sense into the chaos gems. Ancient kingdom of chaos. Innate world. Burial ground of immortals. When Lin Feng's divine sense entered the chaos gems, an ancient voice was transmitted into his mind. When that voice spread in the air, Lin Feng was astonished. Although the content was short, the information it revealed was so shocking that Lin Feng was momentarily stunned. As soon as the voice was transmitted, Lin Feng's divine sense was forced out of the Chaos Gems. He couldn't sense more information from the Chaos Gems, perhaps because his cultivation base hadn't reached the level required by the Chaos Gems. When they saw Lin Feng's shocked expression, Du Zhu and the astral beast exchanged glances. They felt that Lin Feng had definitely discovered something. Du Zhu asked, "Is there something wrong with the Chaos Gems?" Lin Feng replied, "Ancient Kingdom of Chaos. Innate world. Burial ground of immortals. I sent my divine sense into the Chaos Gems and obtained this information." The poison ancestor was astonished. "The primal chaos ancient kingdom. Does it really exist?" asked Lin Feng. "You've heard of the primal chaos ancient country?" Du Zhu replied, "Legend has it that it's a holy land for innate life forms." Poison ancestor paused for a moment, then continued, "But this short message says that the ancient kingdom of primal chaos has become the burial ground of numerous immortals. That's far too frightening. The immortals you're referring to are the powerful sentient life forms. Were they buried in the ancient kingdom of primal chaos after their deaths? If that's the case, then what if we can find the Chaos Gems? Wouldn't that be heaven-defying? Perhaps the primeval Lord of Heaven's legacy is buried in the Chaos Gems. It was supposed to be passed on to Huangfu Qingtian, but it was destroyed." The astral beast nodded. "That might be the case. It seems like the Chaos Gems you obtained might contain the secrets of the Chaos Gems." Lin Feng said, "That should be the case. However, the secrets of the Chaos Gems aren't something I can explore at my current level. Besides, if the Chaos Gems are the burial ground of immortals, then it must be extremely strange. If we don't have enough cultivation base, even if we know where it is, we can't go. If we do, we'll most likely lose our lives." The poison ancestor and the giant star beast nodded in agreement. If they wanted to explore the ancient kingdom of chaos, they needed to raise their cultivation first. Lin Feng put the Chaos Gems and then looked at the Chaos Gems. He directly devoured them. Then, Lin Feng started absorbing the original strength. Tyrannical energy began to spread Lin Feng's body. That original strength was extremely high in quality. After Lin Feng absorbed it, his qi started to improve at an incredible speed. Now, Lin Feng had completed the first step of the 2 steps to enter the immortal state. His soul had reached the 3rd level of the Void God realm. The second step was to complete the transformation of his Dharma power. Once his Dharma power transformed into divine power, he could try to break through to the immortal state. If he cultivated step by step, it might take a few more years. But with this ball of pure origin energy, he had no choice but to use it. It was no longer difficult to complete the transformation. The ancient ship continued to fly in the starry sky world. Lin Feng continued to refine the Dharma power. Finally, 10 days later, Lin Feng's Dharma power had completed the transformation. His Dharma power transformed into divine power. Powerful divine power. It flowed in his body. It merged into Lin Feng's limbs, meridians, and every part of his body. Under the divine power's transformation, Lin Feng's life form was undergoing a perfect transformation. A tribulation light appeared between Lin Feng's eyebrows. This was the light of the heavenly tribulation. Lin Feng roared as his body emitted waves of shocking energy. Above the boundless starry sky, thunder rumbled. Lin Feng said, "I'm going to transcend the tribulation. Quickly steer the Xinyuan away from the area covered by the thunder tribulation to avoid being affected by it." Yes, Du Zhu and the giant astral beast hurriedly nodded. They did not dare to stay in the area covered by the thunder tribulation, because once they were covered by the thunder tribulation, Lin Feng's thunder tribulation was likely to attract Du Zhu and the giant astral beast's thunder tribulation. Now that Du Zhu and the giant astral beast were not in the tribulation stage, the thunder tribulation was attracted. It was equivalent to transcending the tribulation in advance. They were not prepared for the tribulation at all. If they transcended the tribulation in advance, it was simply a narrow escape. Regarding the thunder tribulation, no matter how strong or weak they were, countless people kept it a secret. Because of the thunder tribulation, it was simply too dangerous. Lin Feng disembarked from the Xinyuan and floated in the air. The Xinyuan rushed forward as fast as lightning. Soon, it rushed out of the area covered by the thunder tribulation. In the sky, The thunder tribulation had already turned into a sea of lightning. When Lin Feng broke through to the rebirth realm, his thunder tribulation covered an area of 100 miles. And now, it covered an area of 3,000 miles, transcending the God tribulation. It was much more terrifying than transcending the rebirth tribulation. Lin Feng stood in the starry sky of the universe. He took a deep breath and began to operate the Great Calamity technique. This was what Lin Feng relied on to transcend the tribulation. In fact, such a terrifying thunder tribulation. If he did not cultivate the Great Calamity technique, such a thunder tribulation would probably be able to kill Lin Feng easily. But after cultivating the Great Calamity technique, it was completely different. Roar. Suddenly, a loud dragon roar came from the sea of lightning. Lin Feng looked up. He saw, in the sea of lightning, huge thunder dragons were swimming. Each thunder dragon was 10,000 meters long. Lin Feng counted carefully. There were a total of 9 thunder dragons. He frowned slightly. The first thunder tribulation was the legendary 9 Dragons Thunder Tribulation. This kind of thunder tribulation was said to be the last thunder tribulation when many people broke through to the divine realm. From this 9 Dragons Thunder Tribulation was so powerful. But such a powerful thunder tribulation. It actually became the first thunder tribulation when he transcended. And the thunder tribulation became more and more terrifying. From this, how terrifying was the thunder tribulation that Lin Feng was going to transcend today? Roar. Finally, the first thunder tribulation was successfully brewed. The 9 thunder dragons roared towards the sky. Then, they fell from the sky. They swooped down, with a momentum that could destroy heaven and earth. The terrifying attack made people's hair stand on end. 9 dragons came out, heaven and earth collapsed. The 9 thunder dragons bared their fangs and brandished their claws. They were about to drown Lin Feng. 9 Dragons Thunder Tribulation. Young Master's first thunder tribulation is the 9 Dragons Thunder Tribulation. This is a bit troublesome. The giant beast of starry skies expression became serious. It could not help but worry about Lin Feng. When he was transcending the tribulation, the third last thunder tribulation was the 9 Dragons Thunder Tribulation. It was precisely because of this tribulation. Therefore, the giant beast of starry sky knew how terrifying the 9 Dragons Thunder Tribulation was. It knew very well what it meant that the first thunder tribulation was the 9 Dragons Thunder Tribulation. Du Zhu's expression also became incomparably serious. He said, "We can't help now. We can only wait and hope that young master can successfully transcend the tribulation." Du Zhu's voice was slightly low. Obviously, Du Zhu did not have much confidence in Lin Feng's success. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.